What? Welcome everyone. All right. This is the November 9th, 2022 class, the Moroccan Post Media, Moroccan Post Law, Government History class. We have the Moroccan Post Media YouTube page. This will be uploaded, if not tonight, tomorrow on the Moroccan Post Media YouTube page. So to mention that it's the Moroccan Post Law, Government, and History class. And so thank you. Definitely the next topic is who is the real secure party creditor and debtor? Who is the real secure party creditor and debtor is tonight's topic. We're going to the next class, which will be 2 Wednesdays from now, where we're actually going to do a review of tonight's class, right? So we'll structure and review of tonight's class. And this is we have done a series, and we'll continue with the series of the Moorish government, Moorish treaty protection and consular relations series. And we'll continue with that next month. As we also will be having, I'm going to be, Shem and I and Tam will be putting together a series of study manuals, Moorish treaty relations and consular relations study manuals, maybe 6 to 7 study manuals. We'll be working on that all of next year. Each manual will be sold for 10. And we're looking to have the first one out in March. So every 2 months we'll be popping them out. All right. So we're looking to have that. So once I get Moors and Main Street Part 2 out and I'm done, we'll jump right on those. We already have the structure already in place. The study manuals will be based on the recorded classes. All right. So we see here go to my book series. Go to moorsandmasonry.org. They have the Masonic Compass of Square, the Illuminati Illumination of the Mind, the Moors and Masonry, Part 1, How Her Venus and Moon Rule, Etymology and Vocabulary, Supplement You Want, and coming your way soon, Moors and Masonry, the Recovery of Lost Moorish, the Power of Moorish Treaties and Recovery of Lost Moorish Sovereignty, the subtitle. So I'm looking forward to tonight's class. This is a spinoff from yesterday. We were on the study build with Solar is on with us. We have Shaka and others, and we were Shem, Terrence, and I. The Prince was on there as well. We were on the build, which is every Tuesday. I think around from 2:30 to 5 o'clock. And then on Sundays from 2 to 4. Solar, you want to put that link in there for those. So Shem and I have been on there. We were on there last Tuesday as well as yesterday. And so this was part of the topic of discussion, not the main topic. This was brought up, and Shem thought it would be proper to present this as a main topic for tonight. We also have a Brother Quasi from 9 to 10. When Shem goes off, will be presenting. He has prepared a PowerPoint presentation, and so he'll be presenting from 9 to 10 tonight. All right. So that once again, the topic is who is the real secured party creditor and debtor. Without further ado, Shem Terrence bring up the screen with the definition of Social Security, and then Shem will expand.
Oh man, I didn't grab that one.
All right. So while you bring it up, I'll read it, and you have it up there, and we'll read it again.
Did you text that to me?
So Social Security, All right, this is a Shem Malachi Bays presenting this definition, and he's going to expand. Social Security, a private account for the citizens of a country who are the beneficiaries of a national government social trust. Once again, Social Security, a private account for the citizens of a country who are the beneficiaries of a national government social trust. Now, this is going to be discussed in government structure, and that's what's been a missing link. In fact, I speaking to two brothers and helping them with some issue they're dealing with in Atlanta. And so they said, oh, this is the missing link. This is the missing link. Government structure, the missing link, you know, so that we can address this. So this will be addressed in government structure. All right. SHIM, we have the definition once again. Social Security, a private account for the citizens of a country who are the beneficiaries of a national government social trust. You want to expand on that, Shem?
Yes. Now we must look back to find out what was going on here. When they had these world government conferences and summits, they come up with all kind of analogies to make sure that government can be run, and that they got to have some kind of. Anciently, they would use the gold, silver, gems, resources. The people, they realized the best resource to have is the people. The people is everything. Is the real salt of the earth. The people, man and woman. When they came with that analogy, they came up with what you call a one world pension benefit fund, and they put together an international organization called International Social Security Association. Now, all the founding nations that formed that, as if they formed one international corporation on the monetary system, all the nations ratified that, and what happened was the monetary departments, the World Bank, set forth a benefit agency internationally on every foreign soil. That fund is for humanitarian, agriculture, science, education, is to keep the nation floating, economics. The people was to be pledged when they're born as indentures. That means they allow the prosperity of working, or if they work and patents, anything they do, they have to pay tax. They will be taxed, and they hold liability to pay on all their income. And that's the way all the foreign nations get their money back. And they also saved the nation from going to bankruptcy by creating an insurance fund called Old Survivor Pension Benefit Fund. Now, normally a government can't do that to a national people. What they did was that on the art of war, they created an education system where they did cultural genocide on the Moors, placing the Moor under legal fiction names, corporate structure names, that Black, Afro-American, Negro, Indian. That way they'd be subject to them. They won't be included as the native people of the land, but they could, you call hypothecation, a propagated lie. So, and they doctorate the people now, they castrate them, so now they can't inherit through philosophy of their ancestors and culture, they piety and deity. They may have their own resources. In other words, they're still like a stillborn in the mind. They're infant. They mature in the body, but they never mature in the mind. They can never reach their mature level as a nation, a national government. And that way they can surrogate our rights to taxing us, using their sureties. Once they take over the estate, the body, they take over your rights, your heritage. Therefore, there's no lawful government to take care of the resources and agriculture and commerce, and there's no government into a maritime contract or amnesty contract with them. Therefore, the people are considered as what? Wards. Therefore, they consider as migrators, meaning they're foreign. They just foreign to their own land. They have no protection on international law because they're not attached under kinsmanship to the people that sign on treaties. That fund now places you as a creditor because it's your body. It's to all your energy. And when a nation comes into another nation and sign a treaty, they come aboard their land and bring their subjects with them to form a corporation, or have the nation, a foreign nation, allow them to do commerce, commercial activity in their land, they bring their nationals to the land, they're given a right to govern their own nationals. That's what councils are set up for. If a dispute happens, who has the political jurisdiction? The hosting state always keep the political jurisdiction over their own nationals, unless the treaties stipulate that they got power, that all the nationals that's of the land, once the nation is given power to ceded power to grant the land, that your territory, you have to become a citizen of that government to get your protection. Now that be stipulated by two superpowers. That was never done. So what they did was to issue the Social Security card. Anciently, it was called a Social Security account. Then they changed to EIN number. A Social Security, they call a bank account, Social Security bank account. Then it changed to Social Security EIN number. So it's social, it's a social account. Mean what? Social mean is dealing with the government and affect the government and the citizens, between its government and the citizens. Now, anytime a foreign nation come on your land and they got subjects living in your land, you are the secured party creditor to that foreign government. You're not a debtor, meaning that you're not obligated to perform on any of the legislative acts that they pass. The legislative acts are for their citizens, to govern their affairs, not your own. Therefore, you're exempt. You are a secure party. They're a debtor because they're on your land. They're not in their homeland. They're not indigenous to your land. Therefore, they're debtors to that government that allowed them to be there on the amnesty, allowed the foreign government to be there, exercise its authority and maritime amnesty law to be in their land and have the subject they're working. The laws only apply to them. Therefore, they become a debtor. We always stay secure party creditor. This is a real secure party creditor. Why? Your consanguinity makes you that. This is your land. You're a debtor when you come from a foreign country and you're on somebody else's soil. That means got to be an amnesty treaty done. And the amnesty, the people are given asylum, which you mean to come there and be protected. As long as they're in that land, the foreign government cannot attack them as a foreign invader. They're allowed to be there and they're subject, therefore they're debtors to the foreign government. The secure party creditor. Anybody got any questions?
Islam, yes, question. Okay, how could we use our treaties and international conventions with the IRS? Because I was looking at that today on the IRS. I'm trying to use the treaty so I ain't got to pay taxes. How would I do that? You're saying we the secure party creditor. How could I use my treaty with the IRS so I don't got to pay taxes? I'm using the 1856, Morocco and Great Britain treaty for that one. So how could I use that? And what department would I send that to the IRS?
No, you don't. This is how it's supposed to be done. See, this is how it's done. Your government, when they got a form for what you call treaty benefit form for exemption, it's called treaty benefit form. It's called 1040, I believe, NR, treaty benefit. And that form, the same way when you fill out W-9 form with the Homeland Security. See, what happened is when you got a government, you got to get what you call an individual taxpayer identification number under your government. That's why we put together this one national government so we can start doing all this. We won't have these problems. And when you go to file, this is how it goes. When you go to file, just say if you're a national and they took out taxes out your check. Do you know under that treaty benefit form, all that money they took out your check, they gave you, it draws interest, they give you that money back plus interest, and they took out your check $20,000 a year. They give you $20,000 back plus interest on that $20,000. That's your benefit. You get all your money back and you get interest on your money. That's the exemption right there. The IRS got forms already set up to deal with people under international law, foreign nationals, on international law. They got forms set up already. You got to have the government structure in order and let the government set everything up. Therefore, when anything happens, they go back to the government step up and protect as your protector. You seek protection of the Moroccan treaties. Any more questions?
So Shim, you're saying that it's not an individual thing. It's the protection of having your own having your government.
Yeah, have a Moroccan state or Moroccan province that's claimed to be in the territory. Listen to me, in the political jurisdiction of territory of Morocco. See, on the Berlin Conference, when they divide the world, they separate Africa. Africa is big. Where we at now is called Northwest Africa. This is no mystery. I give Ty's credit. These Ty's teach this. This is Northwest Africa. What they did was the Berlin Conference, the empires like Denmark, Portuguese, Great Britain, France, and Spain decided to draw up a map, and just like they created Europe and Phoenicia, they created America. America is the second Europe, and Morocco, Northwest Africa. When divided, they split Africa up into three sections: South Africa, South America, North America. Now Africa became America, South and North. What you mean? These are the political jurisdictions of these empires, the European empires that's ruling in Africa. Europe is a European empire ruling in Phoenicia.
Mhm.
Peace, Jim.
Yes.
So when I say foreign, it don't have to be across the waters. It be across borders, boundaries. That's foreign too. If I draw a line and say, this part of this estate is mine, my government. This part of the state, this is government. It's no different travel across the waters. It's foreign. It's still falling to amnesty. Why? Why for Shim? What you mean? We're not in the water, in the high seas, the vessel? Yes, you are. Your body navigates every day. You got water in your vessel, your body, your land. The land is flowing on water. Therefore, we the cargo on the land. We are the cargo that's on the land. The land is a ship. The earth floating the water is one big vessel. Carrying a lot of cargo, which is the body of us, the vessels, we vessels. Any more questions?
Peace, brother. Brother Shim. This is Shin. This is
Yes.
Shin. Okay. Under the Universal Commercial Code, what you said, it does apply. Why wouldn't you fill out these financial, every consumer credit transaction is a barter exchange. So there are certain financial statements that are to be filled out. Why is it when you come in contact with bank personnel and otherwise who are learned on this, but then when you ask for the financial statement, then you they act like they don't know what you're talking about?
Let me say something. No, they're supposed to do that. Know why? Because they wasn't properly trained. See, this is what we take for granted. You keep thinking they know everything. They're not trained. They're not trained in national banking. These are regular people who took a domestic job, went to college, got programmed. They only got programmed, and they get educated. They got programmed. Now, anybody got a trust supposed to have a financial statement from their own trust. And I get deposited with your when you open up your trust account. See, the problem is you're going into their system. You don't operate as a foreign bank operation of a foreign government. You got a domestic organization operating within the United States. Therefore, the United States political jurisdiction territory apply to you because you're fiction and you are considered United States citizens. And by being United States citizens, they're not going to train you. They're going to program you, not educate you. They're going to program you so you can't. Because if you really realize what's going on, you might turn them. They call you a traitor. You might turn. What you mean? You might expose them. Like one woman exposed them when she learned all the IRS codes. The brother said, "Do not go public with this." She went public. What they did? They ruined her career. Why? She was not protected by government structure. Now, when they came after her, if she's a foreign national protected by treaty, the council would have stepped up and blocked that. It would never happen. They'll never be able to ruin her.
Brother, you said they not in this class, but you were speaking about not necessarily financial statements, but then I think the example was given if you went to as far as opening an account or something to that magnitude. You said that there's the banking staff are trained in international or diplomatic relations to a degree to where though you say they're going to ask you what nation state you're from.
That's called private placement. You talking about private placement. See, when you go into a bank, they already know you know what you're doing when you go in to ask them to open a trust account. You excuse who's the trust officer that's responsible for opening a trust account. Everybody is trained, they feel trust, estates, but private placement, trade, all this stuff, brokerage fund, they all got different setups in the bank. All officers are trained different in that bank. They were different estates, trusts, trade, private placement, double bonds, notes, commodities, SKRs, appraisals on valuable instruments, dealing with appraisals on land, minerals, resources. All this are real banking. So when you come in as an open up a trust account, you can't go to a regular clerk and ask them to do all this reception. They don't know. You got to ask them who's the clerk officer. Who's the officer in charge over the trust accounts? They have an officer of trade. He might not be at the bank. They might have to call them to come from another bank. Then they sit down once you open up the trust account. What does that mean? I mean, they're specially trained in that field. They're trained and educated in the field of estates and trusts. You may have one in private placement. There were bonds, notes, instruments, foreign instruments, negotiable instruments. That one is trained in dealing and trading. So it's different. So what it is, we don't have a government structure up, number one. So we got organization that's incorporated in that government that's doing business in the States, the United States, as a foreign organization connected to a foreign country, protected by treaty. All that structure got to be set up. Then when you do a UCC, you don't do a UCC1 under that, you do what you call international agreement under CFR, international law, protecting your assets. Because you're international, you're not domestic. That's how you protect your assets. The bank can't use your assets to do what they want to do because the council come in and sue them now and have them arrested. You understand?
Yes, peace.
Any more questions? We might well get to the nitty gritty of this because this is the wrong concept that the Moors got. And this is why when that letter came down, that the Moors were considered as sovereign citizens, I'm gonna tell you why this happened. Because the Moors has been expatriating themselves through these processes as if they were United States citizens, operating for protection from the government, as the government enforce something the government don't have jurisdiction to enforce, and then you turn around, you take the same thing that the government has an oath of office. You take his oath of office, you take his bond, the issue a debt package against the government, and amnesty and maritime, and now you're trying to hold the government in violation of violating international private law, private customary law. Now he's not doing that. No, he's not, because he won't hear your case. He don't have a signer. He don't have jurisdiction to hear your case. He wasn't delegated authority here. The only way he can hear a case in a foreign matter is that treaty allow him to do that. If the treaty, let me say something. If you go in front of the court and say, and the judge say, you say, Your Honor, I got protection of the treaty right. The judge say, okay, he invoked his right to counsel. That's a judge knowledgeable in international law. Are you invoking your right to counsel on international law on a certain treaty? Because you can't speak. You need your counsel to contact the State Department, International Affairs, and to let them contact me. That's a judge that studied about international law. Most judges, I tell you, they don't train them, educate them in that because know why? They'll be woke. They don't need them to be woke. If they woke, they feel like, man, they keep in the fraud us too. See, they wake up too, this is all the fraud. So they better keep them, when you run a card game, the best way for the con to keep going is to keep most people not knowledgeable on how the con work. Even people that you know around you take their money. I've been on this man 25 years, and I ran a con game and took his money to three-car Molly or the three tops. Took all his money. He can't pay his bill, lost his house. Who cares? They don't care. I can't tell him what I'm doing, how I'm running the con. He may say something and get me killed or get me arrested. This is a big con going on, a very big con going on.
So with that said, can I ask a question? This is Sister Basima Muhammad Bey. Greetings, everyone.
Yes.
My question is back to the trust fund account. When you said the clerk officer would have to be called in from perhaps another bank, that is so true. But my question is it safer to have, well, I'm gonna ask it as I hear it. Is it safer to have the trust fund account or a regular bank account?
Well,
You understand what I'm questioning?
Yeah. I would tell somebody to open up a trust account and have your name as an unincorporated association as a trustee in that trust. So you ever notice every time a lawyer, all over, lawyers become esquires, the first thing they do is they incorporate their name. Why? So if they get sued, they won't come back on their person. They have to pay in their person. I mean, it's not affect their estate, their body, their purse, their income, their private assets. It only affect under that name, only affect the assets that are owned by that corporation. What they do is they open the corporation and put all the money in trust. Therefore, the corporation don't hold nothing. The corporation files a proposal and a project summit to the trust how much funds it needs to run their business for that year, and the trust release their funds. That way, nobody can ever take them down. It's always a fiction, artificial being, a dead fiction. A dead fiction can't go to jail for nothing.
I appreciate the conversation this evening. Just in banking itself, our money just sits there with no interest and no movement to our benefit at all. Other people are utilizing our money, and I'm looking at what we're saying with this trust. I'm hearing it gives us a better security in terms of us doing a different levels of business and being able to be secure.
Yes.
Excuse me?
What you say?
Okay.
Somebody called me. I missed what you say.
No, I said that I see this as being a better secure level of banking. Our money sit there in the bank, and they utilize it as they choose. I feel like this is a little bit more secure, and we are at a different level to actually do business.
And let me give you an example of a prime trust.
Yes, sir.
Protecting the trust, which is the social account. When they created the Social Security Survivor Pension Benefit Fund, all the certificates went to a state trust. Now watch this. The international community of the World Bank and Monetary Fund created the Federal Reserve Bank. And they came incorporated in the United States shores, a foreign bank. What they did was all the master accounts that the fund that held all these trusts had to be held on one master account, held in one of the Federal Reserve districts in one state. Therefore, in order for the United States not to be in bankruptcy or not to be in depression, the Congress was forced to pass the what? The Federal Reserve Act. I mean, what you mean? All the states will have to now become a member of the Federal Reserve Bank. What that mean? They gave it the sovereignty. Any little state sovereignty had, they gave it up because all the states became banks. And then they didn't become banks, they wouldn't get no funding, they couldn't ship, they couldn't export, and did nothing. So all under Roosevelt New World deal, all the states decided to become banks and members of the Federal. When you said member bank, all the states are member banks of the Federal Reserve Bank. Yes, the states are banks. And all the citizens, all the counties hold a trust. And what happened is every citizen, mother going to the hospital registered them as what? As a beneficiary award of the state. The state puts them as a special needy person in the trust, issue a certificate for that special needy person. And now that certificate go over to the World Bank, to the Fed window to be monetized at the IMF, to International Monetary Fund, to the World Bank. Now they send the money back down to one account. The Federal Reserve account, call it a Social Security account, is your banking account. It holds your master account. That's what all the states, all the financial institutions incorporated in the United States and the states go to the Federal Reserve window to monetize all their documents. Why? Because that's the international bank to the board of governors. Now, how you know, Shim? They didn't want to determine the interest rates, how hard the interest rates is, how the inflation gonna be in $1. Why? They control the currency. These are all the foreign corporations, the foreign crowns, foreign nations that got treaties in Morocco here protecting their interests. Yes, they are. Right in front of our face. Anything else? I'm gonna let that play
Islam.
tonight. Our ladies are playing tonight, so we know what's going on.
All right, a question. So the question I asked
Excuse me.
earlier
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, brother.
Yes.
Islam, I asked, okay, I heard when I asked the question about the IRS and I was talking about using a self-execution treaty, you saying that we can't use a self-execution treaty when dealing with the IRS?
Now, bro, hear me out. See, see, we got to understand that there's some things that's secrecy. Well, I mean, secrecy and for the government, not for individuals. I agree with that with the United States, the Secrecy Act. There's some things that individuals should not be knowing and doing because they're not trained by government. They're running any government office, not part of government structure. Listen, we got to realize we are responsible to make sure that we protect the secrecy of our house, ourselves, our people, and the government. That's number one. Now, I just said this is an IRS form you fill out, treaty protection. That's the form. Why is that form put there? Why the IRS or the pass and codes of enforcing international law, conventions, treaties? It's there. What we need is a government structure. See, this is what I said, listen, it's going on every day, but this is an election, the elected the Senate and the representatives and the president. This is an election, the elected to the Senate. What do they got? A population. They self-determined among themselves. They're not forcing nobody to vote. They go on voluntarily and say, you want to vote, voting change things. Coming together as your people change things. Do like them. Wait, we gotta wake up and do it. That's all. We can't blame them, oh, they did this. No, let's do it. By them doing it, they're waking us up. They care, these damn Europeans care about themselves. Am I mad at them? Absolutely not. I'm not mad at them. I applaud them. I applaud the United States. What I don't like is this here. When you use art to tear a certain particular people down and turn around like you're unconscious, you're doing it. But it got to be that way because I say secret, art of war is secret. So I can't blame them. You can't remember telling an individual about some private stuff, government stuff. I'm not going to be telling people that's secrecy stuff that government going to be doing. You have to form a community, learn, and get appointed or get elected as a government official, and let's just do it. That's it, period. Did everybody understand this?
Yes.
I understand. I understand what you're saying. Just had a question because I see C. Cannon Bay of the USAR, and the State Department is supporting him. Is he actually formed a government to have that happen, or did he do it?
Let me say, government is recognized by the people. Let me tell you, that's a self-inherent right. You got to be. This is handed down. Let me say something. Here go a man. Right now, what's the guy's name? This boy, Twitter. What's his name? What's this boy Twitter?
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk. Elon Musk is a billionaire. He got a trust set up as for beneficiaries. All these beneficiaries having people, they got another trust set up. He issued a certificate that can be traded in what he's investing in. That way, the trust, the people, his children got kids, all of them can live off the trust, hand it down. So what we have to understand is that Elon Musk is backed by something, a government. I don't know if I know he's going to war with the United States now, a financial war, commerce war, economic war for his economic assistance. Once again, I say this, government structure is the United States just had an election. In order to have a senator or representative or president elected, you got to have an election, a community. So I don't get mad at nobody knocking on, like Jehovah's Witnesses do, knock on the door, they walk down the street. What they got? But they got structure, they got some form of structure. You got to put the people to something you're doing that can benefit them. Because our people ain't jump on, I'll be honest. Most of our people ain't jump on nothing unless you got something to do with money, quick, fast money, like a dope fiend, a dope man. Want to shoot that dope, a crackhead. That want to take a hit and get high right there. They're crazy about finance, by the way. They want something real fast. Any more questions?
I want to get these drugs off the. I want to get the drugs off the corner that are abusing that our people are hurting. I want to address the issue of the gangs, gang violence. You know, I want to address the issue of homelessness. No, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this because this is not discussed. This is not discussed by those who know their moves. Most of those people for 29 years, I have not heard this. I've heard right to travel. I heard my case. And I have not heard, let's address the mass denationalization by people.
Yep.
Let's address issue of homelessness.
I
you know,
say, okay.
massive crime and drugs in our community. I don't hear that from conscious Moors. Hear me out. I only hear that from Moors classified as Negro, color, black. Let me clap for them. Moors classified Negro, color, black talk like that. Let's address the issue of crime in the community. They talk like that. Moors who know they're Moors don't talk like that. That's 29 years of observation. 29 years of observation. Moors who know they're Moors only talk about their own personal case. Moors who know they're Moors don't reach out to the community. Moors who know they're Moors are not for the whole people, whole community. They just for themselves. This is 29 years. I dealt with, you know what? Sister Basima knows me, has known me for how many years, sister? 27 years?
No, brother, over 30 years.
Yeah, we work back.
Alhamdulillah.
Sister Basima Muhammad, when she, sister supporting sister, the Moors on the round table with Taj Tariq Bey, myself. Sister supporting sister, Moors on the round table, and sister supporting sister united. This is before the Million Woman March. This is
Yes,
before
sir.
the Million Woman March. All right? This is before the Million Man March. Before the Million Man March.
Yes, sir.
Sister right here, sister supporting sister. We did lecture sister, then we do sister, then we do Moors on the round table, and sister supporting sister united. And we did lecture series in
Around the
Philadelphia.
city.
Yes, we did. And what we would talk about, the people.
Yes,
Not
sir.
our own personal stuff, our own personal nothing. I don't hear that from conscious Moor. I'm getting on conscious Moor, just I am.
Yes, sir.
I hear that from Moors class. I hear that. I got more respect. Hear me out. For Moors classified as Negro, color, black, the black power people, I got more respect for them. Because they lead for the people. They talk for the people. I know they calling people black. I know that. But I never hear them say, me, myself, and I. I never heard but I never heard Sister Basima Muhammad talk like that.
No, sir.
I
Collective.
never heard Sister Filet talk like that.
Collective.
I never heard Sister Filet talk like that either.
That's right. That's right.
But I hear conscious Moors talk like that. Sister Basima knows I've been involved, I've been active 29 years straight, dealing with thousands of people.
Yes, sir.
I rest.
Thank you, Brother Abdullah. It needs to be said, if I may, it needs to be said, there needs to be a fine line that is drawn in terms of the conscious minds of us as Moors in order for us to elevate ourselves and to elevate our people. First and foremost, it's about the work of being a servant. So I'll close on that. Thank you.
Absolutely, it's well spoken. That's for me, Abdul Babin, for the last 3 years, public service for the Moors, unconscious Moors. Me, Abdul fit that description better. We did government courses, and that's why I say that right now for any more that's unconscious. Once you hear this, there is a program that's set up that gets you back, recognizing who you are, what happened, what they did, how to get back, as come together as a community. There's a way to take you back, get you back in your right status, thinking in your right status. There's a way to recognize yourself and also take a hold of your heritage. Your heritage is take a hold and claim your culture, all your rights in your culture. So this is why the Pope gave atonement and said, I apologize for the cult. That's what he said. Culture genocide upon the indigenous people. Right away, the false media went out to tell them, oh, he told indigenous people in Canada. Who indigenous? Us. He apologized for what he did down in Mexico, down in Moors territory, taking the language, the culture, the everything from them. Now, that's why they call Mexican. Apologize for Latinos, call themselves Latino. Apologize for the conquest and demobilization with Spain, Denmark, Portuguese, all of Great Britain, France, all of theirs, Roman states, under his command, yes. That's why he apologized. When he apologized for all of vast European empires, yes.
I would, if I may, I would like to also add, Brother Abdullah, you had mentioned Empress Felicia Nesu, the mother of the Million Women's March.
Yes.
The work is never stopped with the sister as we embarked on our 25th year. Next year, we will march 2023 because it is about us. Uplifting us. And so I just wanted to put that out there in terms of the consistency of the work that's being done.
Yeah, it definitely got to be an art. What we doing now, we fight the war now. Now we woke up and found out who the enemy is. See, there's an art going on. What they did was train us to be an enemy against ourselves. Now we know that I met the enemy, me, Shem Medikal Bay. Well, how you enemy, Shem? I'm an enemy because I've been indoctrinated to think against my culture. I'm indoctrinated for looking back and saying I make me sick for reading my history, and they looking at my history and taking it, revising it, modifying it, getting back to me as a cancer. So the enemy is us. So when we got to come with strategies, when we make a move like this, a million, and the millions, we got to make sure there's a great fist behind it. We're counted. Where do originally count at? That's why I want to get with the sister and go with some things with her to show her when we do this march this time, we're gonna do it on the art of war with an art to it, where the Moors gonna benefit from this one. And that way, the enemy to know what we're doing. We don't want the enemy to know what we're doing. That's the key thing. Don't want them to know. There gotta be secrecy with this.
Sure. Good teaching. One of the greatest arts that we have certainly been able to exemplify is, I must say, as the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey said, we have nothing to hide. Truth is truth. And, you know, we organize and we stand on truth and we move forward because in the end game, we certainly are not putting our hand out there, but we have nothing to hide. But we welcome this, brother. This is conversation that we just had. If some people may not have been around during that time, but nevertheless, those we didn't ask for any money from our people during that time and even up to now, because it was very important to us, just what you're saying, brother, in order for us, Brother Shemp, in order for us to be able to mobilize the masses of our people, the collective work must be done. And so, yeah, I'm sure that this will certainly enhance us as we go forward to reach out to our people and reestablish ourselves financially.
So just like we have the pros and cons among the Europeans, we have the pros and cons among the Moors. And when something is done, we got to move it on the government structure, which though we make a big move like that, it got to be done strategically with all the finances, make sure it stay in the Moors trust and the Moors benefit from that. That's how I want to give it to sister and show how we're going to do on the strategy of war, art of war. We're going to do it in the art strategy, with art with it. We're going to craft it and make it to a masterpiece where our enemy don't know what we're doing.
Good talk, good teaching. Give thanks.
Go ahead, T. Anything else?
Any other? Hold on, Shem. I'm gonna read on. All right. And I want you to. You did go into. In fact, you went to all of the points that you gave me earlier today. Now. Oh no! Yeah. Let me see here. All right. Jurisdiction between foreign nations and treaty relations fall under admiralty and maritime. You did mention that admiralty, high seas, maritime contracts.
Yes.
So we go into maritime with contracts.
A maritime contract is a law that's done by two foreign nations in common, in amnesty. I mean, in common, which fall under amnesty, because amnesty means these two vessels are contracted about the cargo on the ship. Now, somebody said, well, we ain't dealing with ships. Yes, you are. Anytime you're on the land of a foreign country, cross waters, coming to another land, there's amnesty. The laws of the high sea. Why? because your body, your vessel, because you get on boats, a boat carry you, you carry your body's a vessel being navigated by divinity, energy, air, carbon. So what makes a boat move there? A car move? Energy, electrodes, carbon atoms, with the same thing, divinity in our body. The wind moves a ship, or what you call energy moves a ship now. It used to be cells by the winds. It's called current, the wind, like money flow, current like money, currency. That's where currency come from. The flow of currency means that flow of wind. Navigation, exchange. So we got to understand what's really going on here. So that's why in their courtrooms, under Roosevelt New Deal Act, when all the states became banks of the Federal Reserve, all of them on the new Roosevelt deal created new, go back, all the constitutions, all the states created new constitutions. Now, when they created new constitutions, they were acting operating under amnesty and maritime law now. So now what happened is they gave it their sovereignty, they gave over to a foreign bank. All the power is now governed by foreign banks. Somebody said, what are you talking about, Shim? Because no state is citizens, is corporations, or trading, exchange cannot do nothing to go to the Federal Reserve Bank, period. So what that mean? The states are member banks. The states are nothing but banks. I'm mad about that? No, what I'm mad about is that, this is what I'm saying, I'm mad when a people don't atone for evil they did. Now, at least the Pope, before he left, told the truth and said, I atone for the genocide and cultural genocide we did to what? The indigenous people. That's atonement. Now, ain't nobody can tell me that a high man in that capacity as a sultan of all these Roman states in America, this man's the Pope, the sultan. You tell me this man make atonement and say something out of his mouth like that? That's what the people, who would cause genocide with? What was, Faircount said it made sense. What was you Mexicans before y'all was Mexicans? I know, Moors. What was you Indians before you was Indians? Moors. What was you black people before you black? Moors. Colored people, Moors. Cultural genocide. This taught in school, they not taught the Moors, they taught they're branded, they taught to be branded. And operate, you know why? Because the creator of the character of the puppet can use the puppet character as he want to use it in his play. This is the only way the United States get jurisdiction over Moors is by making the Moors accept to be something outside what his consequences right is. Therefore, subjugation. Now he castrate the child now. That's like castrate the child. What do you mean castrated, man? You take the man, you castrate him, and what happens? He can't have affection. He for a woman. He can't make no kids, children. What you do? You take and cut something out the woman, and she can't hold no babies now. She can't incubate no babies. What they're doing, they mentally castrating us. That's what's going on. It's called a caste system. They castrating us now. Through the education system they created. And now what happened is they'll indoctrinate a lot of us, so many of us. Now, so many of us believe falsehood. Therefore, the truth come out, the falsehood lovers, just like a person shooting heroin, our mother. She got 10 children. She started shooting dope. She not even worried about her 10 children no more. She don't care. She had no more affection for nature. It's carnal things in nature. All she cared about now is that fix, the high. All she wants to get up morning time, do whatever it takes to get that fix. She'll give her children starve, get disease, get stolen, get sold, get taken. She don't care. All she wants is dope. That's what our people hooked on socialism. I mean, cultural genocide, we hooked on cultural genocide. What you mean? Indoctrination, mind control, we hooked on that. Now from that, we can't be like, we no different than a dope fiend, a crackhead or dust head. Why? We can't get over socialism. Now, that's why nobody ever talk about the drugstore in the corner, music, entertainment, all that stuff, sports, all this stuff is set up to dominate you, to affect you with socialism, so that way you will have no affection about what's going on around you. Because you're so busy worrying about something that's fiction, that don't mean nothing. That's not gonna uplift us, the people, sports, entertainment, music. That's not gonna uplift us. Knowledge, philosophy. That's the greatest thing you got. People got. Go ahead, Abdullah.
Any questions? Comments? Criticism?
Peace. This is Shen. Now, Shem, you spoke about our people atoning for the wrongs, and you know, if we're being honest, then we more classified as Negro, Black, Colored, Mexican, so on and so forth. If you don't know the history, then how can you atone for something that you are unaware of? One of the things that I've observed is that how can our people as a whole take responsibility for their actions or their inactions? Because we look back at history, we would sell each other into slavery. We were, conquering each other, and we weren't just enforcing the ancient land boundaries when we were out here. We got to take the good with the bad. So that being said, how do we atone if you don't know what to do, or you don't know what to look back to?
I agree. There's certain things that we should have handed down to culture. But let me say something. I've seen this in my lifetime. Two brothers and sister, whole family goes each other, stealing from each other, stealing estate. They wasn't taught that in school. Ain't nobody taught that on the street. That stuff comes to your divinity inside of you, a form of thinking. There's some things that a man and woman got responsible for that comes from within, the energy within you, darkness. So anybody went to court and taught you in school how to take from your brother and sister? Anybody tell you go in there and sleep with your brother's wife? Anybody taught you nothing like that? Where it come from? Blame yourself. Why did I do that? Something inside of me. I can tell you the energy, the spirit inside of you, the carbon, the energy, the spirit, the elements inside of you. It's not right. The same way in ancient time when Moors conquer Moors, and I'm gonna tell you, Europeans are very clever with this. Europeans can teach that Moors put them in servitude, came in their land, opened their graves up, put their kings in lime, and let their bones get soft in front of everybody. Why they don't teach that? They don't traumatize their kids. That's true history. Yes, Moors came in Atlanta, Edom, European states, and took their kings out the grave, tortured them, hung them on sticks, put them in servitude in camps, and took their wife and made them concubines. Yes. Why don't they teach that? Now, watch this. Why won't they teach it to their kids? They're not going to traumatize their kids with that. They're traumatizing their kids. They're inferior. So what I'm saying is that every Moor know he is. If every Moor knows that if he took from his brother, if he did something wrong to his people, ask yourself a question. Who taught you that? Where it come from? Remember, everything comes from the unseen world. You came, the first being came from the unseen world. We came from the unseen world and placed into a carnal state in this body. We got to leave here and go back to the invisible world. What happened? We go back there, we can't get out of our body, a celestial form. Yes, just like you got a carnal form, you got to right to a celestial form. You got to go back. You can't get it living like this. Come on, Charlie. Where did negative come from? It ain't come from ambiance. It come from the unseen world. You were developed first and formed in the unseen world, and you would sit here, place the corner form. Now you got a chance to make a difference for yourself. So where that negative energy come out? A man raped his sister, a man raped his daughter. Come on, man. What happened when a man learned that he got a right? I'm gonna tell you right now today. Somebody said, Shem, your grandfather had a bank account, and you left on the bank account as a beneficiary. How long did it take for me to go down there and claim that money? Do I need somebody to teach me that? No. There's something inside of me that gives me a reasonable suspicion that I got a right to that as mine. Why? Because I want to do that. I want to claim it. Because I believe that, because I have trust and confidence that that person left it, I'm part of that pedigree. So when I say we got to tone, what I mean stop and tone, we got to stop not thinking that we can do anything. We got to tone saying this is all right. Stop accepting what's going on in our community among ourselves. That's the first thing, among ourselves, not foreigners. Let's stop doing stuff.
Good teaching, good teaching.
Right, and justify and say, I don't see no wrong with that. They send out a message, no, man, tearing us down, because this has been going on for over 100 years and we getting worse. We're not getting, ask yourself a question. If any type of person ever made a mission statement among a people, and been running for over almost 100 years, 80 years, 90 years, what's the benefits of it if it's not helping the people? It's no good. And we got to accept that. We got to tone and say, stop. Let's stop praising packages, processes, and redemption and plans of men that did nothing at all, nothing. Show me what they did, nothing, there's no works. That means we got a problem with ourselves. We accepting lies. We agree to accept lies out of what? Out of parenting, being a part, agreeing with somebody because it's 100, I don't give it a million people that say, I don't believe what Shem said, but guess what? What the Spirit gave me for the cosmos, the heavens, I'm gonna implicate it. I'm gonna come up. You know why I know? Europeans are using the same ecclesiastical law of our ancestors, and guess what? They are governing our own land. And guess what? Something going on because they got government, military, they got in our land, and they got us under servitude, and we ain't got nothing. So you gotta understand, there's some things that our fathers and mothers did anciently. See, this is the real thing about it. This is something that father and mother could do anciently that the children can suffer from that. Like there's decisions that our ancestors made with the Europeans that did benefit us. And now we suffer the curse from that, or harm from that. So what they did at that time to their own people is coming back on us now. Yes, that is foundational law. That what the mother and father done, and some generations come back on their children. Yes.
All right, hey, Shem, we have two questions.
Yes.
S. Murray Bay first. S. Murray Bay, my man. My
Islam.
nemesis. It's like,
All right, Islam. Islam. I had a question. All right, now I noticed we say we can't do nothing, but I think we can. I noticed that.
He never said that. I know. Hold on, S. Murray Bay. You made this. You made a claim. Made a false claim. Hold on. So only made a false claim. You made a false claim. Shem Malachi Bay. I've known this man for 20 years. I've never heard him in the past, in particular in the last three and a half years. I've been in this man's presence so over 1,000 times in a 3.5 year period. I've never heard him say, we can't do nothing. I never heard him say that.
Correction. Okay, correction.
All right.
Correct. Thank you. All right.
I share.
All right. Okay. What I'm saying is, I noticed that there was in my studies, I noticed that there was 2 treaties that was used against the League of Nations or the foreign or the United Nations in here. They violated the 1889 Montevideo Treaty, and that's what caused the Great Depression, because Noble Drew Ali represented the Moroccan Empire when he stepped at the Pan American Conference, and it was 2 treaties: the Bustamante Codes of 1928 and the Montevideo Treaty of 1889 were used against the League of Nations, which caused the Great Depression, because they did violate those treaties. Because the United Nations, in order for them to coexist with the OAS, Morocco is the host nations of both of them, so they had to have a treaty, and they violated that treaty, and that was used to cause the Great Depression. But then, so then they came up with the Montevideo Treaty of 1930, which was to overthrow the 1889 treaty, which was used to cause the Great Depression, because the League of the European League of Nations are violating the treaties for being in this land. They had to sign a treaty to be here, and they violated that treaty. And that was with the treaty with the OAS. Well, back then, the Pan American Conference. So we can use those same treaties to cause to get control over these European nations that's here operating in the Americas right now. I mean, Morocco is the host nation to both the OAS and the UN. So us as Moors, can't we just step up and say, hey, you're violating these treaties that you signed to be here in 1889? I mean, because the 1930-something Montevideo Treaty was never, the Sultan never ascended to that, never. So that was an overthrow. So right now they're doing all this establishment in the land, bringing guns and drugs in. And I know we'll have to expose the European nations for their diplomatic immunity, because that's how they're getting the drugs in, through diplomatic immunity. And then we got our Masons who bring the drugs into the community. Not all the Masons, but that's how it's getting into the community. And I know that for a fact. So we have to address those issues also.
Okay,
that's all I have to say. Peace.
Let me take you back. What's going on here? We said depression. First of all, what made the UN form was Germany. The last war where Germany threatened the world. They didn't form it. It was called League of Nations. But when Germany threatened the world, they fought inside a treaty forming out of the League of Nations, the UN. Now, UN was the first started by the first member. All the member founders of UN was European nations and China founders. The reason why that happened in Turkey, also the Ottoman Empire, because Germany fed the world like Napoleon did, a dictator. He wanted to bring the world under one government, one dictatorship, and he fed the world. That made all the nations. This is the European conquest power, all European conquest states and European empires threatened them. Therefore, they came together to one universal Congress for a universal government. Now, the depression started when a war. Anytime a war, the reason why the depression was in the United States because the United States money system was harmed. The United States is not dependent on its own money system. It depended on foreign currency of France, Portuguese, Denmark, France, Spain, and Great Britain. Now, what you mean? The United States didn't have any money. They borrowed money. So the money they borrowed was foreign money. They paid back in foreign money. Therefore, their whole banking system was based on foreign money. When Germany fed the world, they could not do no exchange, no banking transactions, no exchange, no commerce overseas, no trust can move wild because all the resources going towards the war in Europe. Therefore, the United States had to run on the treasury to pay back all these war debts. Therefore, the people suffered because all the people's income was being taken. Therefore, they couldn't print out money. After that war, Roosevelt signed the Federal Reserve Act. See, with both the United States, depression was a war. The Europeans went bankrupt, and their money system died down. The United States didn't have a money system or economic system. All the economic and money system based on Europe. Remember, they live in the colony territory. All their money and wealth, they don't have no wealth. The United States don't have any wealth, no title to property or nothing. They don't have the mineral rights. Yeah, the government do not have mineral rights. All the rights to the local proprietors and the British Crown Trust Company. Yes.
Brother Shem.
All the company is the only one that got power of all the resources of the Moors. Besides the Moors, they're the only one handling the resources and the gold, the currency. The United States went in bank and depression because they could not do any commerce internationally because of war with Germany. Therefore, the people suffer. The reason why the people here had a depression because they were indoctrinated not to fish, hunt, or grow food. How you have a depression in a country that got world festival animals, fish, marine, agriculture? How you gonna be in a depression? You're in a depression because you're indoctrinated. That means you put in a handicapped infant position. See, nobody tell us, you gotta tell the truth. Why this country was depression? Because the school system, the private people the right to self-govern among themselves. What you mean? The hunt, the fish, and the grow food. If they did this, they would never been in depression. The reason why they were in depression because they're programmed to be a commercial slave, servitude, which means work for a factory and take their money, spend and buy their food. I mean, all the corporation, government took a corporate company to take over all the resources, agriculture, marine, and the wealth. Therefore, the people could not hunt because they had a license. They were being penalized. Therefore, the war started, took away all the people's rights, and they were allowed them to hunt for themselves. So this is called an art of war against your own people. This is the same art of war against the Moors. So the depression fell because the people of knowledge did not know what to do. The hunt, fish, and raise food. That's why any nation got loaded with marine, agriculture, minerals going through depression. That's because they're infants. They had not matured enough to know what the land is for, the water is for survival, not for sport, for survival. And hunting is for to bring back livestock and cook it, burn wood. You don't need no gas. See, the reason why the country went into a depression, they was not educated in agriculture, economics, farming, agriculture, marine, fishing, hunting. That's why we went into depression, because the people was now put in their mouth like a baby, a pacifier in their mouth, like a handicapped man, still an infant, sucking on a pacifier. To the pacifier in their mouth, he cry. He can't put the food in his mouth. He's a grown man, 50 years old, got an infant mind. Slobbed out the mouth, wipe his mouth. He can't go to the bathroom, wipe his butt. That's a state they put the people in. To subjugation. That's what we went to depression. Go ahead, Abdullah.
All right. I'm gonna address the Germany. It's in my Moors and Masonry part 2, chapter 2 of Moors and Masonry part 2 coming your way soon. You'll learn about the Peace of Westphalia, 1648. That's the United Nations for them. That's all right. United Nations for the European powers is the Peace of Westphalia, 1648. Germany violated that. Germany violated, the Peace of Westphalia ended the 100-Year War. The negotiation began in 1644 and was signed in 1648. Now you have also the Treaty of Utrecht. The Treaty of Utrecht, this is what they're operating on today. This is very important. The Treaty of Utrecht, Utrecht, of 1713, that ended the War of Spanish Succession of 1701 to 1713. The Spanish crown was without an heir. That was the claim. So they were fighting over. See, the game was that France and Spain were going to unite to become a superpower. So the Treaty of Utrecht, as well as the Peace of Westphalia, these are what they're operating on today. And so they put Germany in check because Germany had violated the Peace of Westphalia in 1648 in the Peace of Westphalia, Utrecht. The Treaty of Utrecht is a series of treaties. 1713, 1714, 1715, Utrecht. So this is the United Nations for them. That these European powers agreed that they will not fight against each other in Europe. They're operating on it. This is before the United Nations. This is embedded. The Treaty of Utrecht and the other series of treaties in the Peace of Westphalia, 1648, is embedded in the policies of the United Nations. This is what they're operating on, what are they operating on, these European powers to agree to work together and not fight each other like that. That's what they're operating on. This is very important to know this, because this is what they're operating on. This is broken down in the Moors and Masonry Part 2, Chapter 2. This is the Intercatera Divina chapter. Intercatera Divina, disguised as Columbus Day, Intercatera Divina, Pope Alexander's decree, 1493, disguised as Christopher Columbus discovered America, or Columbus Day. And I break that down in Chapter 2 on Moors and Masonry Part 2, coming your way soon. In fact, they had a conference, and there's a 57th year conference in 57th year addressing the Peace of Westphalia. So they're addressing these matters, but we need to become aware of what's going on. Up, you had your raised hand and a clap. Was that? You have a question, Kimberly?
I raised it by mistake.
All right. Does anyone have a question? Another question, comment, or criticism? We don't know what we're talking about, but you can say, then you have to support it. Once you say we don't know what we're talking about, you have to support.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Could you hear me? Oh, I didn't know if I was still on mute.
It's
Yes,
Alpacino,
this is
yeah.
Vizima. My question was, when we were talking, the brother brought up in reference to the Great Depression. Thank you for going as far back and forward to give a little more clarity in terms of their unification, not
Yeah.
to destroy each other in the manner that we see the organizing effort that they do, even though it's destructive in many manners. But war against each other is certainly one of the things that they committed in the contract and treaty to one another. So I wanted to talk about the Berlin Conference in what was that, 1935? Was that a part of that Great Depression area?
1890 something.
Right,
Berlin
but
Conference,
going forward,
1890.
there was 1935. I'm looking at the continuation. They don't stop in terms of reinforcing their strength and carrying on the legacy to uphold these treaties that they made in order for them to maintain that order amongst one another. So in 1935, again, I want to just speak about the Berlin Conference, that where they had actually organized and had dissect the African quote unquote world and African people in manners, boundaries that have never been rectified since. That had became a part of the tactic to make sure that we, as we say, the Jamaicans don't get along with us, the Africans hate us. During that conference, it was a strong effort to make sure that if blacks were traveling, that quote unquote Africans, blacks, Negroes traveling, that there would be laws put in place that we will not unite with each other based on their contracts. So that was a part of the strategy of the Berlin Conference, 1935. So they continue to teach the separation. They continue to teach their tradition, their laws, their order. So I just wanted to say that as well, that it is a perpetuating and continuance behavior. And when Shep answered that last question, I thought that was right on, because we must have some self accountability to how we're viewing things and acknowledging those before us that are bringing the example and the work to us and laying out the facts to us, to act on them, because we have generations, we have our children, our grandchildren, some of us, our great-grandchildren, that are watching us and looking at us and trying to find their way through this sacred space here we're in. So I just want to share that. Thank you.
And this sister's been soldiering out there for what, before I even met her. I mean, I got great respect for this sister, boy.
Thank you, brother. I was 12 years old. My mother said that's what we must do. So I come from a long line of family who've always serviced and took care of our community, and made sure our community was provided for, network fed, and protected. And so I carry a strong legacy of my family, who are Moors from southern states, and we'll talk more about that, who my great-grandparents were. So I'm honored and I'm humble, and I appreciate Brother Shep. I appreciate everyone on this call, really, but I certainly appreciate the brothers who are formulating these meetings and conversations to collectively keep us together, and keep us thinking. Ashe.
That's right. I'm glad you sound and picked it up. During that Berlin Conference, the job, their job was to make sure they map out, see, go back to old treaties, they map out political jurisdiction of Africa. Africa was just what it is. The North Africa is where we at now. Then they came up with a strategy. And North Africa, you got British, France, Spain, Great Britain. Down in South, what they call down in the other part of Africa, they call it South America. You got the French, Spanish, and the islands was considered owned by the Spanish Empire and the French Empire. And in Europe, they had islands. So connected to North Africa. So what they did was, Africa was a big continent. So they divided up so they would go to war one against the other. At that Berlin Conference, the United States is there. So the United States is part of America. America is a European conquest power. It's operating in North Africa, which is Morocco. That's America, all the European powers. The signed treaties in Morocco is a political jurisdiction like in Phoenicia. You got Europe. Europe is a political jurisdiction. It's not no land. It doesn't sit there and build records in Europe. It's a political jurisdiction for European nations to operate new states and assemble among itself for self-determination based on the old treaty Abdullah talk about.
So you're
That's
saying
right.
that,
That's right.
so you're saying that the OAS is a European. I thought the OAS was the Organization of American States. You're saying that the OAS is European. The
Let me
OAS,
say
I
this.
thought that was Latin American states. I didn't know that
Let
America.
me say something. They are unconscious Moors that operate under title conquest titles, names. They're puppets. They're creatures of the law created by European powers. That's why they never say they say the Americans. Never say North Africa or Morocco. They say the American. What's the Americans? The Americans are political jurisdiction of all the European powers, right? Where they claim to be the jurisdiction of the European powers. They're under conquest, subjugation. All these states, new states that's made up of European nations, the organization, American states, are the Pan Am Union. Under the Pan Am Union is the first thing, the Pan Am Union. Pan Am Union. All these new states under conquest, states, puppets, under conquest to social engineer, came together as new. They had the right to self-determine, but they never claimed their national status, their pedigree. In a subjugation state, they claim a right to exist as what? As a puppet, as under a title that's not the ancient ancestors. So they came as a people under a subjugation title. Therefore, they became a new state. They came together to form a union. And that union, they claim to exist in the Americas. Now, you have to understand what's going on here. That's not, they didn't claim to exist in indigenous territory. They claim to exist in a European conquest territory. That's very important. We got to know this. What's going on here? It's like a man not in his right mind making a claim to an identity that somebody, okay, I've been on this guy for 40 years. I know who he's born. I grew up with it. His name is Charles Smith. Now all of a sudden he's 50 years old. He ain't Charles. Somebody walks and say, hey, what's up, Billy Graham? Hey, what's up, man? I've been known Billy Graham for 20 years. I'm like, what? When you became Billy Graham? That means now he operated under a fiction name that somebody gave him. That means he got amnesia. He don't know who he is. He don't remember what he was at birth. You understand? So somebody said, oh, he gonna say, well, all I know for the last, when I was born, until I got the age of 20, I got 10 years old until my name was Billy Graham. But on documents from your nation, your name is Ted Smith. So you see what's going on here? Whoever the created a creature in the law, they control that puppet. So when that puppet go ahead and actual independence, not under what? Not under being free people, under a conquest people that depend on conquest and say they got a right to self-determine. But when they self-determine, they're not self-determined as a native of the land, they're self-determined as what? A political what? A political citizen, a political prisoner. That means they're not claiming to be indigenous, aboriginal, because they had to go back. We had to go back 100 years before them. The people of that land called themselves Moors. Why you ain't a Moor all of a sudden now? Something happened. Conquest. So the Pan Am Union is a host of new states that claiming a nationality. Misunderstanding what nationality is, claiming a new state self-determined status under subrogation name that they was given. That's why that territory always will be in the power when they go internationally to say, hey, listen, they violated our rights as indigenous people. The only thing you ain't gonna say, well, you know what? As a foreign government claiming they become foreign, even in that subrogation status, they still foreign because they determine among themselves. We're gonna determine. We're gonna make decisions for ourselves. Whatever state we in, we will protect ourselves in this state and govern ourselves. And here we as Moors shall see that they are a de facto state and not even fully knowledgeable, and we become a conscious of all this information. We got to do it. No question. We got to do it.
Okay, But the UN is operating off of public international law, and the OAS supposedly to operate off of private international law. Private international law is what we, the Moors, should be, because that governs nationality and the land that comes with, and the territory that comes with it. So, being that they violated that treaty 1889 in Montevideo, they violated that, which was private international law. We should bring that back up to get control of them over again, because like I said, 1930, that was to overthrow the 1889 Montevideo, because the private international law overrides the public international law. Why are we focused on European? Why are we focused on the way the European does things? We should be focusing on private international law, because that's more better for us.
Okay, guys,
Why
I'm saying
we?
something.
I mean, I never.
Who's
Go ahead.
the last people in the Moors? Who's the last people who's the one put the last people Moors in servitude as servants, subjects? Who came over and conquered Moab, Israel, all these powerful nations here, right here in Northwest Africa called Morocco? Who were powerful these nations after the Roman Empire? After the Roman Empire took over, who came behind the Roman Empire and took over the Moors here in Northwest Africa, Morocco? Who conquered them? Who conquered them? And then after he conquered them, he allowed the Europeans to come in here on their land and run government. Who conquered the Moors? What monarchy conquered the Moors in their own land and made them subjects?
The European nations, once we let them in here.
No, the Sultan. No, say it right. Let's put the blame in the right place. Sultan, Emperor Sultan, al-Marak. Sultan. The Sultan beat Roman Empire out the Pope out and conquered Constantinople, which is in Greece, a territory in Greece, and came over here and took over Africa, North, Central, and South Africa, all over. Don't go conquer. We come right here, Morocco. This is Northwest Africa. We at now, Western Hemisphere. South Africa, Western Hemisphere. The Sultan conquered Moors here. What you call Choctaw, Cherokee, Wichita, the Iroquois, these all was Moors. They were conquered by the Sultan. Yes, the Sultan allowed Europeans to come in here in the 16th century, 15th century by signing treaties with the European powers, bring them on the land, and then Spain, led by the Pope, led a war against the Sultans, disguised as a Christian war. The Christians that went at war, that was the Moors fighting the Muslims. On the Sultan, and they went to war on our territory, and therefore our people became subject to the states, to the Roman states. Yes, we got to tell like it is.
Okay, all right, but they came in on a promise that they were going to do commerce, but they came in with their militaries. Okay, now, and for what they do, how they held the Sultan is, they said, hey, if you don't allow us to stay here, like the U.S. does the OAS, if you don't allow us to stay here, we're going to allow these foreign European nations that's already here attack your people. So you have to let us keep them under control and pay us tribute. So it's like the OAS is paying extortion fee I'm paying protection fee to the U.S. to keep the United Nations, the United European nations from attacking the Americans, because they're already here. That's the same thing they did with the Sultan. They said, hey, if you don't allow us to be here, we're going to let all these Europeans that you already allowed in here, we're going to allow them to attack your people. So now, yeah, the Sultan going to have to capitulate because you got your armies already here. So yeah, he had to give it up. You don't want those armies to attack your people. So yeah, you allow the U.S. to stay here. And the U.S. is saying, yeah, you pay us protection fee and we'll keep the European nations in line so they won't attack your people. That's how the Sultan gave it up. So you blaming the Sultan, but it really wasn't on the Sultan, because there's many Sultans. A Sultan is a family. It's a family of a high spiritual, because the Sultan is very spiritual. He's a Sufi. He's a mystic. He's very spiritual.
He's direct descendant of Prophet Muhammad family. Yes, he claimed to be a direct descendant of Prophet Muhammad. Yes. What I'm saying is this right here. When in the Fez Treaty, the Sultans bought large amounts of money from the French, Swiss governments, the international banks. Yes, the bankers. When the Sultans borrowed that money to live in luxury, he took that burden and placed it on the people to pay it back. And therefore, he seceded his house. He took his authority they had as a monarchy. He seceded over to France. France became a republic, and France called itself Moroccan, French Moroccans. Yeah, Franco Moroccans. French Moroccans. They start operating as if they was Moors. The Albions start making a claim on the French government as if they was Moors, Franco-Moroccans. So the Sultans sold the empire over the monarchy to the French government for bonds. Not only that, when the war was going on in Asia against Algiers, when the Moors, the Days came over here for refuge, he locked them up. He went against them. You know why? He would get money, the bonds. The Sultans living off the luxury life while the foreign European nations taxing his people, taking them over, bringing in foreign armies, taking over their resources, their agriculture and resources, all in the name of a monarchy. So we gotta be, when we talk about this thing, we gotta be honest. Talk about this, like I say, they was called, why were the people in Northwest Africa called Moor subjects? That means they got an emperor over top of them. They're subjects to the emperor. They're bindings to an emperor. Yes, the melanated people became in bindings into a sultan. So when the Sultan took over that, the Sultan made deals with European power through treaties, which though they could come in here and do commerce and on our land, Northwest Africa, Morocco, and all this came about what? The Sultan of Morocco. Why was he called a Sultan of Morocco? He conquered Northwest Africa. Morocco, that's called Morocco. He's conquered them. They made all the tribes that became native Moors became Moor subjects. We got basically, we let the people know, Moors know that how did Arabia, Moab, the Philistine, all the ancient nations get conquered by the Roman states, Babylon, Persia, Greece, Rome. Who came after them? The Sultan conquered.
Okay, it's back.
Conquered Africa, South, Western, Central, North Africa. It conquered them, the Sultan. That's what it's called the Moroccan Empire. He came into all and Northwest Africa made them to subjects. That's why the treaties say more subjects. Before we was a more subject, we call more subject when we subject to who? The crown, the Sultan.
Does somebody have any other questions? Somebody else? Let's open it up the floor, something else, open the floor up, some other questions.
So our way out of it is government structure. We the people, native Moors, take upon ourselves a letter of independence and treaty of liberty among ourselves to free ourselves from any monarchy, ruling, protection, and we self-govern among ourselves. That's why Abdullah came with the letter of political legitimacy and letter of independence and treaty of liberty. That's why we did that for, to set it straight. We get from under that stuff, that conquest, all that's conquest. The Sultan ruling monarchy, all that's conquest. Whether it's Moors or not Moors, all conquest. Moors, put Moors in the servitude is conquest, period.
Any questions? Any other questions?
Silence means no.
Shim, anything you wanna add regarding the Social Security discussion?
No, we can move on. We can move on. This is good. They can learn a lot from this. It's good. This is very good. I like the brother the last conversation we had because it brings out clarity of the conquest, the real conquest power.
Well, they want to. Let me add then. With there's two ruling empires that most people are not aware of: Moroccan Empire and the Ottoman Empire dynasty. And this is when these two empires controlled a lot of part of the Atlantic and the Mediterranean. When European scholars are dealing with the Atlantic, they only, and they're writing about the Moroccan Empire, it's only one sentence, either one sentence or two or three sentences. You talk about this tremendous power, this vast power, and seizing European ships, and hundreds of thousands of Europeans held in bondage, and you only write one sentence. One sentence? 3 sentences? Definitely, cover up. So I have many books, doc reference in Moors and Main Part 1, a bibliography over 100 books listed. This is the Moroccan Empire and France had over 300 years of diplomatic relations, and treaty relations, going back to the 1500s. Francis I, King of France, sought a trade and protection treaty with Emperor Morocco at the time, because as we could protect his ships and his sailors and captains. So this is bad. This is the vast history that they've covered up. Diplomatic treaty relations, looking at military engagements, our seizing of ships, captivity issues, exchanging ambassadors, they've covered up. So we have to see ourselves in history and rulership, though. See ourselves in history, in government structure and rulership, not just bondage. So how do we know how to operate? And don't look back. Look at the treaties. When you read treaties, you're reading government structure. So government structure is the key. To even to enforce the treaty, we must restore government structure. The recognition is already there. The power is there. It's in abeyance. More sovereignty lie in abeyance. We have to activate her. She's in the hospital. The Moroccan Empire is in the hospital. She's been in a coma for over 200 years. We have to resuscitate her. How do you resuscitate her? Education. No, not doing first. Education guides you on what to do. Education. What I've seen, we cannot have a bunch of empty shells, which means you have a consul or a Moorish head of state or Moorish government officials with no knowledge. That's like you pass a window, a mannequin. They're like, almost like a mannequin because they don't have knowledge. Or you have a walnut, and you open the walnut, and there's nothing in it. And the walnut looks good because you see this structure here, but the people don't have knowledge. I've seen that too. Like they're so busy trying to beat people to the chase or try to get something going without study. And I don't know where that comes from though, like thinking that you can do something without study. I just don't know where that comes from. Just any other questions, comments? You can we're not above criticism. We're not above criticism. So you can criticize us, but have support though when you criticize us. Because I'm a challenge. I'll challenge any criticism. I will. To present support though, support your whatever claim you make. Support it. You don't like my taboos, then I can't challenge that. I mean, that's your, you don't have to like my taboos. I mean, all right. Any other comments, questions? We have 15 minutes before we bring Quasi on.
Brother, peace. Abdullah, brother, peace, peace. This is Sheehan.
Sheehan.
you spoke to us Moors who know they're Moors, and then the difference between Moors who don't know that they're Moors, classified as Negro, Black, colored, and how they're speaking to more broader issues going on within our community as opposed to the individual processes.
Absolutely.
I can say from, don't you think, did you experience a time of isolation during when you came into the knowledge that you're not Negro, Black, colored, African American, so on and so forth? Because I know I can, from my own personal experience, I can say that there has been there's almost a period of isolation where you feel like in having conversations that you don't, oh, they're not getting it, or they give you the what you talking about, Willis. You get the what you talking about, Willis look, and reference to speaking about certain things. And so, you said that what was it? I think it was we've been taught through misconceptions to kind of fend for yourself. So wouldn't that be reflective of the misconceptions more than a lack of wanting the people as a whole to
No. I said no, because let me explain why I say no. That's a conscious Moors being overzealous. Conscious Moors being overzealous and beating unconscious Moors in the head. You're not Negro, color, Black. You're not Negro, color, Black. They're beating over the head and not have to develop a rapport. That's conscious Moors. This is my observation of 29 years.
Yes, sir.
Conscious Moors being overzealous, not taking the time to build relationship and rapport in the community. It's a lack of patience and care and taking time to build rapport. And let me give my advice. Don't teach them anything. Hear me out, please. First. Don't teach them anything first. Show them that you care. Build a rapport with them. Build a relationship. Go to community events. Have a presence. Don't go teach them anything first. But conscious Moors, being overzealous, you're not Negro, color, Black. You're not Negro, color, Black. You're not Negro, color, Black. I'm not exaggerating. That's the problem. That conscious Moors have not taken the time, like Sister Basima Muhammad. Yes, I'm pointing to her because this sister's been out there. She understands what I'm talking about. Of taking the time of building a rapport with the community. Moors classified Negro, color, Black have done that. Moors classified Negro, color, Black have done that. Conscious Moors have not done that. This is 29 years of observation, not been involved. And Sister Basima Muhammad can give me a hallelujah and a amen ra and back me up on whatever thing I'm saying.
Absolutely. I think that most of us on this call can contest to that, and just even the brother reasoning with the assumption that the process should be, as you said, without the patience. We've been isolated. We isolated ourselves. We became more knowledgeable and we became more clearer of a greater sense of the value of life in us, and we shine differently. But I always say to us is that remember our light wasn't always as bright as it is today. And I give thanks to the Most High and the Creator for allowing us to be able to, in the Creator's essence, for allowing us to continue to flourish on this kind of energy, because we are the examples. And we must be patient with our people. We must be tolerant with them. No, we're not going to reach everybody, but it has been the disconnect of the community, Black, Negroes, colored, Moorish mindset, that there is no tolerance for those who are not engaged in a higher understanding, or understanding just the essence of natural law. We don't have patience with them, and if they don't understand, they ignorant, they dumb, they niggers, they Black, and they ain't gonna never understand, and that's not true. So I appreciate this conversation tonight. I am grateful, I'm humble, I'm honored to be able to share amongst our community that this conversation is engaging amongst conscious minds to develop that sense of a relationship. We must. And many of us are in the community, like Brother Abdullah is at many events, and I'm sure some of you all are. I don't know everyone's on the call, but I'm sure that some of you do participate and see the need that our people have, and the dying relationship that they built with us. They're eager to be in our presence because of the light, because of the information. So thank you, Brother Abdullah. I can go on. Thank you, Brother Shem. This is like, I haven't been on in a minute, y'all, but this is really outstanding tonight. Certainly in the work that I do, always trying to keep the people enlightened and stay in the forefront. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sister, for your insight. And it's nothing like a woman's touch. Just the way that you
All
express
praise be to
yourself.
Allah. Yes, sir. All praises be to Allah.
Hey, Shem, I don't think people are gonna be coming back, man. I didn't been beating them up enough, man. I think we won't have any students next time, Terrence. Gonna have 0 people next time. Yeah, I ain't coming back, man.
Hey, but it's done all out of love.
I care, and I'm just being straight up. I'm going straight paper. I'm not BS. I care. Well, I'm not going to sugarcoat stuff either.
I think the people are loving it. We kept a 32 count, a 29 count. I look back, it's 32 on the call, so they have continued to come on.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so hey, keep it going.
Shem, nobody heard you while you were talking.
Yeah,
Nobody can hear you, Shem.
Nobody can hear you, Shem. Shem, no one can hear you.
Abdul, I got 5 more minutes. Abdul, I got to go my prayers.
I know. I'm aware. And we got Sheen coming on, and Kit Quasi. And all right. So any other questions? But Shem, we got 5 more minutes for Shem.
Let's go to Secured Party now, Creditor and Debtor. Let's get back there.
Yeah, because we lost you. Go ahead, Shem.
Well, Abdullah, read this question, Abdullah.
No, you've discovered. No, you discussed everything. Those are you went over every point.
Yes, we got to understand that what the Europeans did was, when the United States passed the Uniform Commercial Code, that was more like a commercial legislative act between all the states, as corporations and citizens, when they're dealing with assets and real property among itself. Who the creditor debtor, they do that by what? Signing what? Private commercial agreements through contracts. It's no different than a treaty. When a treaty is signed, doesn't consider as a commercial commerce agreement. Now, in that agreement, what is being protected? A foreign nation come on your land and say they want to grow food, they want to trade, come through your waters, they want to trade, they want to sit here, bring their subjects as their planters, and then they develop agriculture and sell it all around the world to the nations. Now that's a security agreement. Now who's the debtor? When that happens, they got to be a hosting nation, and a receiving nation. So the countries that coming in for permission And the country that granted amnesty and asylum is a creditor. That means all the subjects of the nation, national of the nation, is the creditors. Anything dealing with that foreign nation, whatever. The only way that won't be that way, you become a debtor when a puppet master, the creator, create a play. And in the play, you a puppet. You got a description, you got a title, what gives the director and producer power to produce that act, that scene. Because you a puppet, you in the play. Therefore, they gotta create a fiction. A United States citizen, they gotta create a United States citizen. By doing that, the lazy Caucasians can't work. They can't do, they're good for nothing. They consider people good for nothing. So we got all these Moors. We will call them Negroes, Indians. And what they did was they put a fiction title on us, therefore take it away from the treaty rights of all the people that signed the treaty, therefore take you away as being a native of the land. I mean, they're not even native. They're here like we are. They're here by what? The conquest, discovery. They're here by discovery too. They're not natives of the land. Therefore, so they come up with a title and give you a de facto, they call it birthright stealing, denaturalization, stealing your birthright. Therefore, to steal your birthright, you become what? You become a refugee now in your own land because they say, where your country at? You don't know. You know what vessel you came off of? Your mother don't know she have you. So now you go down as a refugee. Therefore, you don't have any rights as a Moor. No the treaty protection, right? Therefore, you can't make no claim to anything, any law to take you to the land. So therefore, you out there as a refugee, foreign in your own land. Therefore, now you fall in the political jurisdiction of the sovereign that was granted sovereign rights to operate for their subject. I mean, you become a subject of the foreign government, become domestic now, domestic citizen. And
Islam.
Yes.
Islam. Okay. Being that like you said in the past, they got us listed as refugees. We heard George Bush during Katrina say we was refugees. Okay, so we still listed as refugees until we come out of that status to be a Moor. So being that we still listed as refugees, can we use refugee benefits while we're here? I mean, if they still have us listed as refugees, shouldn't we take advantage of those benefits for refugees? Because then through that, go ahead.
The time that we would spend teaching to get benefits from refugee, you're still not getting out of that status of a puppet, a dead fiction, an infant stage. So you're better off. I know what you're saying. If I got a problem right now, can I use that to protect myself? I would rather use the Constitution as a United States citizen to protect myself than use that refugee status. Now, what I'm saying is that I've rather spend time educating us and being aware of who we are as a community, before coming together, form a community. That way you do it that way, we can clear up the matter real fast. We won't have to go to the court, the agencies. We go right to the body, register, and then we down a self-determined organization. So as long as we be a refugee status, the UN won't help us. You know why? Because they said they'll get involved in domestic affairs of a nation among its own citizens. So you got to come with a refugee status. So I would want to spend any time teaching ourselves how to operate, even as a quick fix. Remember, a quick fix is not totally dealing with the problem. It's like a car got a flat tire. You can punch the hole, but you still need a tire. The tire is done shot. We need a tire. We need something that's gonna keep moving. We need our own manufacturing, our own manufacturing plant, our own car dealership, and licensing our own government. We need a government structure, something that can move our vessels that we can get on and move our cargo, our body to one destination to another destination without being hindered. So this is why it looks like it's a long process. Once we acknowledge that we can do this and come together and register among ourselves, that's a key thing. Unity among ourselves.
I hear quick fix. I hear quick fix energy from somebody.
Well, no, it was just that in Articles 13 and 14 in the refugee treaty. I mean,
this has been
okay.
3 months though. This ain't been. This has been 3 months, 3 or 4 months. So,
I taught
comment based on long observations.
Well, I'm gonna say this right here. I say anybody, if you're in a situation, we don't have the government set up. and you got, it's a critical situation. I would never tell you not to use a system that can benefit your family right then. That's a fix. Remember, that's not gonna help us. Don't promote that as I did this and it worked. No, that's not gonna help all the Moors. Government structure. Once we form government structure, everybody would never be in that situation again. If it happened, you go right to your council and straighten it out right away. It's on the record that you self-determine among yourself. Nobody come in, get involved in your political affairs, your civil, criminal affairs. We can govern among ourselves. No foreign agency come in and frustrate our people, infiltrate our people, make them turn on each other. Why? Because we got a Moorish government. We can have our own affairs. We deal with our own problems. We got to worry about no private immigration coming trying to take our children, DSS, the State Department. Why? Because that assumption that we're on is moving now through the status. If you move because they got a government, they have to honor that and respect that now. When we travel in commercial vehicles, we know how to travel with our sign, our papers, our passport. We set everything up. I'd rather waste time educating the people that form a community and do this themselves than to spend time teaching them how to a quick fix. A quick fix is not gonna help us right now because believe me, if you do it that way, they're gonna come back and find another way, a law will come back around again and mess you again. Why? Because you're still on that status as a United States citizen and you're in domestic jurisdiction of the United States.
All right. 901. Anything else?
I have to go, Abdul.
All right, my man.
All right. Thanks a lot, Shem.
Yes. Peace, Morris. Much love.
Thank you, Shem.
Islam, brother.
Yes.
Peace.
All right. Terrence, you want to share the make what's the name? Quasi.
Oh, sure. Hold on. Let me see where he is. Hold on.
We have Brother Quasi is going to be presenting tonight.
Peace.
Go as long as you can, brother. Go as long as you can.
Hold on.
I'll take over from there.
Let me remove.
All right.
you.
Okay.
Where are you on here? I'm looking for you.
Ujima.
There you go.
Tribe.
All right, there you go. Right here. Boom, you got it. It's all yours.
Okay, let's see here. Can y'all see the screen?
Still loading. Yes, we can.
All right.
All right, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm trying to see how I can share the whole screen. Give me.
I see it. I see the screen.
I think he's trying to add his
All right.
Yeah, you have the full picture in there right now.
All right, did it blow up now?
Oh, it's been blown
We
up.
can enlarge it. Just touching our screens too. I did that. Foreign policy zone in Morocco.
It's all the way across. It's all the way across my screen, so it's kind of large.
Yes.
All right. So peace. I'm Kawase in Morocco, in the area known as LaGrange, Georgia, the political zone known as LaGrange, Georgia. So today I'm gonna be talking about foreign political zones in Morocco, and just kind of giving an insight on how it helped me to begin to see what was going on, what was happening. And so I'm just kind of explaining it from the light of my mind, giving dates and timelines to kind of give us a guide that possibly may answer some questions that we may have had during our journey that could possibly, time during presentation. So I'm just going with the flow. I hope you all can hear me. Let me know if my connection is not good. I'm getting a pop-up to say internet connection unstable. All right, so
You went out, but we hear you loud and clear now.
all right, so I have here more. So I just pulled different definitions from different locations. One is from Google, just a normal Google search. You just Google more, and you'll see more information, but I just pulled out this piece. A member of mixed Berber and Arab descent in the 8th century. And so when I looked at that, I was like, okay, the 8th century, that's when the Moors went into Spain. And then I go over to the next definition, and I just read, also applied to the Arabic conquerors of Spain. So the Arabic and the Moor is almost being used as interchangeable, as I'm applying it to my reading. So the Arabic and Moors really being different, known as the same nationality of people. I know Arabic being a language. Language being Arabic being a language and Moor being the consanguinity. The Arabic conquerors of Spain, a dark people in relation to Europeans. Their name in the Middle Ages was a synonym for Negro. And I contrast to, okay, what do they call people in the United States? Negro, black, color. So, are these the same type of people? They're saying that they're Arabics here in the 8th century. They're saying they're Moors. Now they're calling them Negroes. And so, man, my mind, this is just playing in my mind as I'm just learning this information as I'm reading, and I'm just trying to put the dots together. I'm playing connect the dots. And so I just continue reading. They mention the Persians, the Arabs, but especially those in India that cognate with the Dutch more, so they go into the different languages. So the German more, Danish Mora, Spanish Moro, Italian Moro. And so I'm just like, okay, so we could be reading about ourselves in different languages and not recognize that they're talking about us just due to the language. So I started thinking, okay, damn, the language can be weaponized. You can utilize words for your benefit just by looking at, okay, more can come out in different forms. You can have different forms of more. So if I can, Negro being a form, but with a political motive. And so if I write Negro in this book, and then in another book I call them Egyptians or Arabics, I can confuse them as to who I'm referring to and who I'm talking to for the point of dismantling a political structure, so it can have a purpose behind it. So I was just reading, just connecting the dots, like, damn, it's interesting. And then you go to the encyclopedia, the Britannic Encyclopedia, and you look up the word more. More in English usage, a Moroccan or formerly a member of the Muslim population of Al-Andalus, now Spain and Portugal. So now this is going into the political zone. They say now it's Spain and Portugal, but it still is Al-Andalus, but they're mentioning another zone flourishing in that area as you have United States here. Because I was one of the guys, I was always taught we were nationals, of the United States. And so the connection I was trying to make is in the 8th century, the word more existed, but the United States didn't exist. And so that's why I reference political zones in Morocco, because you have the Moors still thriving, still existing. If the Moors went into Spain in 711 and taught, high culture, geometry, astrology, previously they had to already have the knowledge. So they didn't just have it during 711. They had to practice it, they had to use it, they had to, be involved with it in order to go in and teach another body of people. And so, but I'll go back to why I say that later in the presentation. And so the population of Al-Andalusia, now Spain and Portugal, of mixed Arabic, Spanish, Berber origins, the Moors created the Islamic Andalusian civilization and subsequently settled as refugees in the Maghreb. And I just continue to read, I'll skip a little bit. By the extension corresponding to the Spanish Moro, the term occasionally denotes any Muslim in general. So now it's applied to any Muslim in general. As the case of the Moors of Sri Lanka or of the Philippines. Today, the term Moor is used to designate the predominantly Arab, Berber ethnic group. And so you just see the term Moor kind of going around applying to different what we would call now the complexion, you know, the nose structure and how they look. They would appear to be different people than yourself. But as we look at the different definitions, we can see that the term Moor is vast, and it applies to various types of shades of people, you know, and et cetera. I mean, we know the people now are not the original Arabics that's there now. You know, they've been whitewashed and different things, but amalgamated. So there's been, you know, a lot of things going on. But however, these still being your people through through war, through slavery, through, you know, destruction and murder, and, you know, kidnapping, pillaging. Some of these people are still crossed up, and still your people are still over there, even though they look and appear to not be. And so as I was reading the information, I'm looking at how vast the empire can be, because it's not limited to a specific group of people. And so this side over here is our side. And when I mean by our side, just saying our bloodline is connected from the Moors of Andalusia all the way extending over here. That they're the ones that had the power in that area. So who do we think was traveling? You know, traveling over here logically, if they're controlling the Mediterranean Sea, if, you know, they have control of the Mediterranean Sea and in control of the Atlantic Ocean, who would be the people traveling back and forth from these areas? Just logically, who would these people be? And so I'll just continue to go. This is just what's playing on in my mind as I'm researching. And so the Caliphate of Cordoba, that was in Al-Andalusia, the Caliphate of Cordoba was an Arabic language, was a state in Islamic Iberia, along with a part of Morocco ruled by the Umayyad dynasty. So there had an Umayyad dynasty. You read Umayyad dynasty, but if not being presented enough of the information, you'll think the Umayyad dynasty is somebody separate than the Moors. All these still being the same people. And so this I'm reading, I'm just, okay, the Umayyad dynasty, they be calling them the Umayyad dynasty. And as time progresses, so it's still the same people from these other dynasties and like the Etruscans, I think the Romans, the ancient Romans, these all still being more same people, just recognized as different terms throughout language. But the political power we was in was the Moroccan Empire. That's what we would go to, you know, in international law for our political protection. All of it being different aspects of war. We talk about the food, you know, we talk about, you know, the medication, you know, the miseducation, you know, etc. All these be in different forms, but the political protection would be going through the treaties that are in line with the Moroccan Empire. There's no other treaties to go to. And so as I'm just researching, I'm looking, I'm like, okay. And then as I continue, we'll see, why would the United States, the early United States, and I got like a timeline of events that I go through up into the United States form. But why would the United States form with the Moroccan Empire if the Moroccan Empire didn't have any influence in the area? If you're a new nation and you forming the Moroccan, well, if you're a new nation, the first treaty or arrangement that you want to have with another body of people would be the area from which they control. You wouldn't have the United States, and I'm looking. Go ahead.
You went out. Go ahead.
Okay, can y'all hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know what part we missed, but I was just saying, I'm gonna go through a timeline of events where we will see the United States not existing, and then we'll see a time when the United States did exist. And the question was, why would the early United States have a treaty with the Moroccan Empire unless the Moroccan Empire influenced that same area from which they were located. Because this is the early United States. So they don't have, you know, the power of the Atlantic Ocean, they're not trade. They independent now. They're starting over in a sense. And so they're fighting for their own area to be recognized as an independent nation. So why would they have a treaty why would they first treaty be with the Moroccan Empire? One of their first treaties, the foreign nation, be with the Moroccan Empire. And so that's a question that I was asking myself as I was researching, and why would the United States, you know? So that means the Moors influenced this area. I mean, that's all you can get out of it. If you look at the connection from the fall of Granada in 1491, and then the Antikythera Divina, and you look at the connection, okay, this body of people fell here. Now this gives us access to go claim the rest of the other area. And then later you see other treaties, you know, with these same people that was in the Battle of Al-Andalusia. No, I'll just keep continuing. And so a caliphate is the dominion of a caliph. And a caliph is late 14th century, a ruler of a Muslim country, from Old French, caliph, also caliph, medieval Latin, khalifa, from Arabic, khalifa, successor, from caliph, succeed, the title given to the successor of Muhammad as the leader of the community and defender of the faith. And we know, you know, the Sultan Muhammad ibn Abdullah is one who signed the treaty with the United States. And so we seeing these connections. The Al-Andalusia had a caliphate of Cordoba, and it was a successor of Muhammad. And so that's Al-Andalusia. Then you go over here, all the way over to where the United States, the early United States was formed. And you say, well, damn, the same. And the Muhammad has power over here too. He got a treaty with. Why would he have a treaty with the early United States? It wouldn't be no need because they already previously had treaties with Great Britain. They previously had treaties with Spain, you know, the Netherlands, Dutch. They previously already had treaties. So it wouldn't be no need to have a treaty with the United States unless there's a new arrangement. But that still shows that there were political power from the Moors where the United States was formed. Or had it would have been no need to have a treaty with them. And so I just thought that I was like, okay, you know, just as I was learning, you know, going through the connections, this is how I was going back. I'm just making the connections of, okay, this is the land, this is where we are. And, you know, this is the occupation, this is what happened. And I go through more slides here. And so here's the timeline, as you know, that I look at, and there's other things that was happening, you know, during this time. There were other things that were happening, but this is a good timeline that you can kind of go by to kind of show the connections of everything that was happening. And so you have the Etruscans, you know, the ancient Romans, these still being Moors, and they have battle with the Goths, the Vandals, the Franks, you know, the Visigoths. And so they have these wars going on. Then you see the Moors come into Spain, and you'll see the Umayyad dynasty around that time as well. Then the Moors go into Spain, and there's other dynasties. And do I have to let them in? Or let's see.
Go ahead, I got it.
Okay. All right. So you see the Moors go into Spain, you know, 711 to 1491. Then you see the Treaty of Granada, and that was the fall of the last Moor Caliphate in Al-Andalusia, modern Spain and Portugal. And so the Al-Andalusia area is no longer being called Al-Andalus, it's being called Spain and Portugal. So it's like from the outside looking in, we can understand that, but then we have to put those same goggles over here and say, okay, it was known as, you know, Morocco, but now they're calling it the United States, and, you know, Canada, all these different zones that they're giving labels to for certain political purposes. And so it's a purpose why you rename or why you classify areas of land. It's a reason why you do to show dominion and jurisdiction. You see that in the fall of Granada looking back on it now, you'll look back and see that it's not called Al-Andalusia anymore. And so the same thing here, where we are now in Morocco, it's not being called that anymore. It's being called, the United States and other things. The Intercatera Divina. So you have from the fall of Granada, where the Moors fell in that area, to the Intercatera Divina, to them wanting to expand. So now they want to continue to expand. And so then you go into the different wars that was going on, the Spanish and Aztec War, the Inca Empire, all these people being defined as Moors, same people. And so I'm going to go to a map so you can kind of see. I don't know why I skipped. Okay. And so you can kind of see the Aztec and the Maya and the Inca. This is the area known now as South and Central America. And so this is where the Spanish come in through this way, through the South. And you'll see them having different wars. You got Spanish, France, Great Britain, Netherlands, but they all coming to the land from different angles, and not all coming in one spot, and coming in from different angles. And so that's why you have the people down in what's known as South America, Central America, in that area speaking, Spanish. A lot of them speaking Spanish. And so we could see that connection on why, they would be speaking Spanish, because some of these wars, they had these wars, and then they would start renaming the areas for the benefit of the children of the future societies. They would start renaming and reclassifying areas so that they could have a claim to the land. And then you had the French. So the France comes and they settle at the St. Lawrence River. And that date, I had that date up. That date is 1534. So you have the Spanish arriving first, and then later, the French coming at the St. Lawrence River, and they're calling it New France. That's the area known as Canada, around in that area. And then you have Great Britain, Jamestown, Virginia in 1607. So you see the different European powers coming to the land, gaining access to the land at different times. And in my mind, I'm looking at it from like, okay, the French they try to come just as they want to trade and do business, as if they just want to kind of do commerce, while the Spanish coming for war. And it's almost like they had an operation like, okay, we're gonna come to the land, but we can't all just come to fight at once, so we won't be able to play them. So we got to come in, some of us will come like this, and we'll act like we're not. So all of them want to convert you to Christianity, that being the goal in the later. But when they arrived, some of them came and they was acting certain ways to kind of blend in. And that's where you see the division, where these people just want to trade. And then you have these people down here, the Spanish, wanting to war to expand their territory. And then you got the Moors having to side with both, because now they're already in the land. And then so you see these wars, and they continue to fight over our land to expand their commerce and trade, or to expand their religious ideologies. Really, it's being dogma, but the world is calling it religion. And so they're fighting over that concept. And I just thought it was interesting about it. And it didn't make us look as weak as when you just first hear, they just came and just destroyed everything, and it was tearing up and stuff. We couldn't stop them. But then when you look at the complexities of it, you're able to say, okay, then the French came in this way, and they came as if they just wanted to barter and trade and do commerce. Okay, so we being kind people, okay, just want to trade, you want to learn. We taught them everything we know, and then they flipped it on us. Then you got the Spanish coming, just straight war, dogs and knives, and they coming how they coming. And so you're able to see us get dismantled, and broken down, and having to side with other sides just to hold on to whatever you could hold on to when you're in the moment, when the things are happening, people are dying, empires and nations are being taken. You got to make the move based off of how it looked then, with the future in mind as much as you can. And so that's why we got the treaties to go back and look at. That's our tunnel back. And so it's not that we failed completely. It was the treaties were made so that we would have something to look back on politically, so we could reshape ourselves and reestablish, old and original state. And so you see, all these people, they're coming and they're colonizing the land in different methods. So the methods are different. They're not all the same methods. And I had to recognize that you got people that have come, they'll put on the same shirt you got on, and act as friends. You got some just straight up let you know you're their enemy. But it's all different signs, it's all part of war, art of war, Sun Tzu. And so I'm looking at it playing out. I'm just going back, looking at it, watching it play out, and trying to look at each step. But leading up to why we can't be nationals of the United States, because that's what I was taught. I was coming into this information. They was teaching me that. But the reason why they were saying it was they would say because Noble Drew Ali said, and it's not. I'm not gonna go into it like that. I'm just saying that would be the reason why they said it. They would say the reason why we're nationals of the United States is because Noble Drew Ali said. I give reverence to all of our, those that were before us that laid out, building blocks for us to continue to connect the dots and grow, but every plant continues to grow. No plant just stops just because it's producing a lot of fruit. It doesn't stop at that stage. If it can produce more fruit, it continue to produce more fruit. And so as I was, showing this information, researching, answering some of my own questions, looking at this information and presentations of, Shem Malachi, Abdullah, even other Moors, just piecing it together though, just piecing it together like puzzle, not just taking one or just all of something just because something didn't line up. I just lay it out like this. And look at it. And if I put No Drew Ali said on here, that's the value of that. And it's like, okay, one of my brothers said this. Let me take heed of that. Then I look at the wars, the conquest. I say, dang, there's a lot of other stuff going on too. Let me reanalyze, but I'm not gonna dismiss, still stand on love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. We must learn to love instead of hate. When you teach a woman, when you teach a man, you teach an individual. When you teach a woman, you save a nation. Keep it principle, not dismissing it. We must learn to love instead of hate. When you study and ask me what to study next, I will reply to yourself, keeping all of that. I'm not saying dismiss that. I'm just saying that's what's what's going on in my mind. Noble Drew Ali said, you got the Declaration of Independence, Spanish conquest, the Moors in Spain, but the United States not existing though. So the Moors in Spain, United States didn't exist. The Antiquitera Divina, the United States exists. Spanish Aztec War, the United States didn't exist. The Spanish conquest of the Inca Empire, the United States didn't exist. When France got to the Long River, the United States didn't exist. Great Britain got to Virginia, the United States didn't exist. French and Indian War, the United States didn't exist. The Treaty of Peace of the Treaty of Paris, 1763, the United States didn't exist. The American Revolutionary War. See, so now that's the time period you start to see a shift due to, France, Great Britain, and Spain fight over territory. And after the war, Great Britain wanted to tax the colonies. So they're saying they're gonna tax the colonies. We helped y'all with this war, so you can keep the land that you have, blah, 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 blah. And so no, we're not gonna pay. And then they rise up against Great Britain. They're rising up against Great Britain. And so I'm playing that in my mind, and it all started to make sense. And so I go, so we talked about St. Lawrence River. And so you got Jamestown. And so this is a map. You got the Atlantic Ocean here in the middle. Then you got Jamestown, and you're going all the way back over towards, that portion, north, Africa. You're going back over towards Andalusia, what modern day Europe, in that area, Phoenicia territory. But now just making the correlation is if Great Britain, Spain, and Portugal crossed the Atlantic Ocean and was able to set up colonies, and different things over in the land, why don't we think we was here thousands of years before that. Why is it so unbelievable that we feel, but we can recognize that we know that Great Britain was over there on that side of the Atlantic Ocean, you know, Spain. We can recognize that they came over here and colonized the land, but we can't recognize that we was already over here thriving with a structure. And when I look at it, I say, dang, we don't give ourselves no respect. There's no respect within ourselves. Why is it that we feel like they can come over here? Oh, this, you know, this New France, you know, this the United States. You know, this I'm a Spanish, I'm in Mexico. But we can't admit that we could have had that kind of structure prior to that. Just one not division talk, but we can't see us unified as one people under one political umbrella, but we can see France come over here and colonize. We can see Spain, we can understand that. But we can't understand ourselves coming over here, being in the land structure under one political umbrella, but we can watch them do it in our land and justify it and give reasons why it's possible. But then when this is presented, things like this, we start fighting. Well, no, it was this, and we can't be this because of this. And you know, and I realize that's we do that a lot. And so that's why I went to the definition of more and show how it embodied different types of people. You know, all of us, it's all being one people, but I'm saying different types of people in the perception of how we look at stuff today. It's being one people, but how we looking at it, we divide ourselves. The enemy looking at you as one people. He calling all of you Moors. And then we go in and we look for the division part of it. Oh, well, no, we couldn't have been Moors because of this. But we couldn't have been, but your enemy, the one who conquered you, looked at you as one people, though. So I'll take heed to how the enemy looked at me too. Oh, you know, why did they look at me? They looked at us all as one people. So that means their plan had to be based on how to dismantle one people, not a bunch of different people. They plan was settled in how do you divide one people. So that means our plan, in order to reverse it, got to be how do you unify one people, not 100 bunch of different small people. We try to divide ourselves. Oh, he got to be this. He got to be this, and then we lose sight. And let's see. And so the Treaty of 1763. This gives you an idea of how you had France in the yellow, Spanish in the green, and then after the war, France loses a lot of its territory. After the war, the Treaty of Paris, 1763, they lose a lot of their territory, France. But the whole point is now looking at from this perspective, where's the United States? I mean, I know you see what you see, but you don't see United States though. So how can I be a national of something that don't exist? You know, how can I be a national of something that don't even exist? But the Moors, your pedigree, your consanguinity, it still exists though. And so I'm just thinking, that's how I'm thinking. You know, I'm not stepping on nobody. It's just my little mind. I'm studying research, just putting it out on the table. This is based off of that, not because just somebody said. I'm just, where's the United States right now? So who would I have been then? Right now in 1763, what would I be saying? Would I be saying I'm a British citizen or I'm a French citizen? We just got to be anybody but who we are. But at the time, there's no United States. And then go to the next. This is the Treaty of Paris of 1783. So this is what ended the American Revolution. And then you'll see the United States now. And I'm not even sure if this is the actual area of what that treaty gave or what was ceded in that treaty. Well, not even ceded. It was it was an area that was relinquished, I would say relinquished to the United States. but not ceded. And but I don't know if this is the actual error. I don't know if this is accurate. It's just an idea of now you have the United States zone, but before that you didn't have it. So I'm just showing. But we was here. But we admit that we was here before that. But then we turn around and say we nationals of the United. It didn't exist until the boundary zone now 1783. Now that's here. But before that, you still was here. You still had to be somebody. And I think about that. I was told that it was Moors that created the Constitution for the United States. But for the benefit of who? So even if, because right now you got unconscious Moors that they still unconscious Moors, but they will help the enemy destroy you. So even if it was a Moor that helped set up the United States Constitution, you had unconscious Moors that would set up stuff to destroy you as well. But I'm just saying that to say, because people say just because a Moor helped set it up, that mean it got something to do with you. I just say that because of that. Just because a Moor helped set it up, that mean that we nationals of it because a Moor helped set it up. Even if that was true, I'm just saying you had unconscious Moors that had structures that set up structures to get you murdered and killed. So that wouldn't be a good reason. I couldn't run with just that. I'm just giving a different reason why I couldn't run with, oh, that's why I'm a national of the United States, because a Moor helped set it up. I had to look at other stuff that was going on. That's not why I would be a part of it. Considering how we fail, we have to analyze stuff more critically and not just go for the first thing we hear. It was your own brothers and sisters that caused you to fall. And so, like in the Quran, only the pure in heart, to teach others to be pure in heart, you must first be pure in your heart. So I'm in line. I'm not out of control. This is what's just going on in my mind. As I'm researching this stuff, we can't just up and just jump for it just because a Moor was part of setting it up. That can't just, it can't just be like that. You have to look at it more sincerely. This is what I'm getting out of looking at information. All righty. And so I go to this. And then it took me to the Constitution, Article 6 of the Constitution, Section 2. And I'll read it right quick. It says, this Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in the pursuance thereof, and all treaties made, or which shall be made under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land. When I first read that, when I was first coming into that, I was reading that, I said, oh, dang, so the United States have to be a part of it for the treaty to have power. So with my limited understanding, when I first read this, I thought that if the United States wasn't part of the treaty, that it had no power. But that's not what this is saying. Now that I come back and read it, that's not what this is saying. It's saying is the treaties that the United States is a part of, that's binding to the United States. It's the supreme law of the land for the United States. If the United States is a contractual party to it, then it applies to the United States. And so like a treaty between France and Spain would be a relation between France and Spain. It will only affect the United States if there's territorial things involved, or boundary zones involved, but it wouldn't affect the United States. That's because they were independent. So they was independent from all that. They had to reestablish, international relations with the rest of the nations, because now they was kind of like they were starting back over in a sense. And so, it brought me to that, when I was researching, I said, okay, now I understand this a little better. The United States has treaties, and the treaties that the United States that they're a part of is supreme law of the land. It's not the supreme law of the land because the United States signed it. It's just that if they're a part of it, it's binding and it's the supreme law of the land. It's not because the United States signed it. It's the power of the treaties, international law, how it applies from nation to nation. And so, yeah, this was just a PowerPoint just to kind of give you all my thoughts on how I was viewing where we were and why we can't be certain things and why we got to be specific, you know, and it be real specific, but always remembering love is not to belittle or to, you know, dismiss anything that somebody said, but for us, the political unity has to be specific. But just because I disagree with the color shirt you got on, that's one thing, but us coming together under political unity is another. You know, you still could do the things that you do, but we have to, that's the only way I kind of see us taking strategically, even if we're just dealing specifically with the art of war, you would want to kind of mobilize yourselves under a certain structure that could function. All the other smaller components could function, you know, and kind of thrive. And so that's what we want to look for, what covers us all and not just portions of us. What structure can we come up under that can kind of structure everything else? And so that's my presentation, Islam. I just wanted to share that with you all. I hope that it was insightful and that it brought a little light and clarity on a few things. But that's my first presentation, Islam.
First of many. Questions. Anybody have any questions for Quasi?
Excuse me, brother. I thought that was a wonderful presentation. You know, some of the things that you talked about. In fact, majority of what you talked about is pretty much what we've been on, what we've been teaching. You know, how the Moors, in fact, there was a presentation on From TV that we did. You know, how did Moors become, you know, United States citizens? You know, in fact, you brought up something when you said, like, if a Moor was involved with, you know, setting something up, you know, does that make us that? In fact, one of the things that I actually wrote down, I said, so Moore started the term African American, which was Jesse Jackson, was at 1980. Abdullah, I think the year's right, like 1980.
Yeah, 1980.
So I said, all right, so a Moore set that up unconscious, you know, but he set that term up, you know, and since a Moore started that, are we African American? Right? No, he set that up under another jurisdiction.
Right.
You know, so what capacity was he in when he started that? Right? So I mean, of course, we know we're not African American. We know that we're Moors. So, but you know, sometimes you know people don't think that you know that don't think like that. So, in fact, one of the maps that you also brought up, which was a land cession treaty map. So another thing is that when we look at maps, you know, we have to think of wars, you know, territory, you know, the Europeans exercise exactly that one right there, where you see the land cession boundary treaties, what happened during those times, what wars were going on during those times, who was ceding what to who, you know. So you see the Europeans exercising their territorial sovereignty, you know, on our land, you know. So it's like, you know, we're like monkey in the middle, right? And then at times, you know, we were fighting on both sides. You know, we're fighting on, you know, on their sides, but at the same time, we're losing power. You know, at the same time, it's like I don't know, it's like we didn't see it. And just like they called the French and Indian War, you know, nobody that knows about anybody that just doesn't know about war, you think that the Indians was fighting the French, but no, you had Moors on the French side, on the side of you know, the French, and then you had Moors on the side of, you know, whoever they were fighting, like Great Britain, right? So So, I mean, we help take each other down. So it's really up to us to really unite. And one thing that's going to do that is education of who we are. You can't do anything without the education. So I appreciate in fact, the timeline that you laid out, man. I like that as well. So I definitely took note of that. And I appreciate that presentation, brother. That was a good one.
Islam, I appreciate it. No, I appreciate. I was nervous. I was like, let me just keep pushing. Let me keep going. You know, but I'm.
All
Yeah,
good,
it's
all
long.
good. And also, we are going to, you know what? I'll present that at the end. So go ahead. Amanda, it looks like Amanda has her hand up. You have the floor, Amanda.
Yes, I just wanted to say that was a very good presentation. There were a few points that I wanted to point out that I thought I really liked, where you asked the question about if the United States, if Morocco wasn't over here, then why would the United States essentially enter into a treaty with them? I think it's a very good question. And then as well as with this timeline, when you were pointing out, going through it, okay, in this period of time, the United States didn't exist. In this period of time, the United States didn't exist. During the Treaty of Grenada, the United States didn't exist. Inter Terra Divina, the United States didn't exist. And so just going through all of those points, I thought was great. It was it demonstrated the point and hit it home. And then also, I think just at the end with the United States Constitution, the goal, as I've at least come to understand it with the class, is that there is that provision in the treaty, but the goal is not to be enforcing that provision through the treaty by going to the United States. It would be to essentially come together politically to be able to hold them accountable as that other contracting party. So I guess I just wanted to add that point. It was a great presentation. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Thank you, Islam.
All right. Do we have any other questions or comments?
Peace. This is Brother Shin.
All right. Peace, brother.
I just thought, yeah, hey, great job, brother. Excellent, more. I think it's important also that we, in the spirit, and you spoke of a pure heart, and sharing these experiences, sharing the misconceptions, sharing the fact, being open, meeting it head on. Abdullah and I, we spoke. I think it was Sunday, and that's one of the things that we were talking about is, being honest about the misconceptions. Hey, I didn't always have it. Looking back at not just the greatness and the power, but the not so bad, and examining that, analyzing that, and seeing where we made the mistake, seeing where our missteps were, and being accountable or atoning, as Shem spoke of. So just sharing and being, Abdullah, you mentioned several times of the 25 years of teaching thousands of more misconcepts. I can say myself, before I started to research and do studies and really dig deep and do my own research, as opposed to just listening to other people, parroting them, and not extending and taking the research and analyzing it that much further. And I was one of the people, hey, the Moors sold us out and blah, 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 blah. And it's not any different than anything that is going on now. The only difference is we haven't been able to see our position. So Islam, brother, great job. And I noticed as you get more comfortable, and Abdullah is one of the things he helps me is once you gain in knowledge and you build your foundation and you get organized with that, and then work with others, then yeah, that's you were there. Islam.
Islam, no.
All right, all right. We have DuPont, DuPont Bay, brother DuPont. You have the floor.
Yes, Islam. Yeah, it was a great demonstration on the history of what happened. Uh, my research, I found out that up until 1710, the Atlantic Ocean was actually the Ethiopian Ocean. Up, and then they renamed it in 1710 from my research. And with that, I yield the floor.
Islam.
All right, all right. So we have Prince Bay. You have the floor.
Peace and love, everyone. Quasi, that was a great presentation. All the information was right in the chat. And I just wanted to acknowledge you and say you did a immaculate and great presentation.
Islam, appreciate that, no, appreciate it.
Anyone else? And I do want to say that that anyone who would like to do a presentation in the future, hey, we're all for it. This is how we build. This is how we learn. In fact, I will be doing a presentation. I'm getting my my information together, and yeah. So whenever I'm ready, I will let everyone know. We have Brother El Kanan Bay. You have the floor, brother. Oh, did he skip out?
Elkanan.
Hold on. I think he raised his hand by mistake. I know he want to say something.
Anyone else? We have 5 with about 3 minutes, I guess.
All right. All right. What's going on with him? I don't know. I think he's stuck somehow. All right.
Peace, peace.
There he is. All right, peace.
Peace, family, Islam. Yeah, that was very, I tip my fez to you, brother. You did an excellent job. You laid out an agenda for how you were going to present the information. You presented the information, you took a timeline. Everything was connected. You had us all engaged. You dropped science as you went along. Excellent. I mean, excellent. That was outstanding. That's all I have to say, brother. Good job.
Islam.
All right. DuPont, did you want to say something else?
No, I just wanted to add that I also noticed doing little research that I have done, that everywhere they have the indigenous autonomous people, they renamed them Negroes. Over here in this part, they called us Negroes. Over there in the other part of Africa, they called it Negro land. And over there in the modern day Philippines, they call them Negritos. So that word Negro went with the autonomous people. And I yield the floor.
Islam.
Also, if you go to what is that, like Etsy online, and you type in Negro, you'll see that when you start reading down and it gets kind of to the bottom, it'll say older English words were more and blackamoor. So so I'll show you all that next time. I don't have it up right now at the moment. But in fact, let me see if I can bring that up.
Well, brother, you did a wonderful job, man.
I
I want to thank everybody for being attentive and being supportive. You know, this is open for everybody. This is open for anyone who wants to present between 9 and 10. All right. So we have the next class is what's the date? That's 2 Wednesdays from now, what date is 14 plus is that 14 plus 9 is what? 23. So November 23rd is the next class, Wednesday, November 23rd. And that's the fourth Wednesday. So this will be the last Zoom class on last Wednesday Zoom. Last class on Zoom on the second Wednesday. It's the last class on Zoom on the second Wednesday. We'll be doing the lecture series. Shim and I will be doing a lecture series in New York. We'll be in Brooklyn on December 14th. That's going to be via webcast. You can go to the Eventbrite. I've been putting the flyer out. We'll continue to do that. You have the flyer next. You have the flyer up next time. We'll have the flyer up, Shim. I mean, Terrence. We're gonna make the flyer part of the
Okay.
my bad on that. I should have. All right. So that's December 14th in Brooklyn, and then we'll be in Harlem in January on the second Wednesday. So every second Wednesday of the month, there's going to be a paid class, be a webcast, and we'll just have one Zoom class, which will be the fourth Wednesday of the month, which will be free. The Zoom class. But the second Wednesday will be a paid class. We'll be lecturing live in Brooklyn, and then I said we'll be in Harlem in January. Be back in Brooklyn in February. So we'll probably do that for a whole year. This lecture series. So definitely, Shock. You want to make comment on that? You have us on the lecture series.
Peace, everybody. Yeah, the lecture series is going to be detailed information, education, and instruction on fundamental government, like they said, the fundamental government structure, and also some other basic information that is going to help streamline the information so that we all are comprehending things in real time and no one gets left behind. Because the key is for all of us to be lockstep. We're going to be unified in understanding the concept of how to address being a body politic. And that is what the focus is going to be on. So I appreciate everybody for being on this call today. Tell a friend to tell a friend about this series because it's going to be very, very important for us moving forward. Peace.
All right, peace.
Yeah.
I just want to flash this real quick. Let me see if I can just flash this really quick, what I was talking about. On what is that, etymology.com here. Just want to flash this, y'all. Yeah, etymonline.com. So type in Negro and you can read it through. It talks about the black skinned race of Africa, blah, blah, blah. You know, the black, you know, trying to depict us, of course. And then you go down to the bottom, you know, you see the more and blackamoor, or the English words for more and blackamoor. And this is also in my, I have a hardback Oxford Dictionary, etymology Oxford Dictionary that also pretty much shows the same thing. So I just wanted to flash that to you real quick. All right, back to you, Abdullah.
Yes, so
Islam, appreciate it. No, appreciate it.
what's that?
No, I was just telling brother, appreciate it for that information he just shared about the Negro.
Oh, yes, yes. So we're gonna be, it's gonna be a heavy focus on community outreach structure with the state, with facilitating liaisons that will be conduit of the information, facilitating study groups. All right, so we're gonna, this is gonna be a, so when I present, well, Shim will go first, and I will present, and I will outline the educational structure that we put together over the past 3.5 years. The community outreach structure, the 14-week courses, the political structure. So we're offering the community, educational structure, community outreach structure, and as well as political structure, education into them working into a political structure. So we'll have, this will be a well outlined PowerPoint presentation of all the classes we've done, for the past 3.5 years of the 14-week course. We'll do a summary. Terms I'll put together. We're going to put together a summary of each of the 12 classes. Well, each of the 12 Moorish body policy classes. We're going to also be doing the Moorish history, the Moorish treaty, Moorish treaty protection and Moorish consular relations series that we've been doing for the past 3 or 4 months. There's going to be study manuals, which we'll get to next year, starting in January. So we're going to be a well-defined structure with benchmarks, targets, and that's what the people, they're looking for, structure, with a plan of action. What is the end game? What's the end game that a friend of mine I've known for 27 years asked me back in January of last year? Is to bring the Moroccan Empire out of a 200-year period of political extinction, political collapse, political disintegration, to re-enter the international community under the reversion of sovereignty as an old and original state. So there's process to get there. Right? Going here, we got my books, Moors and Masonry. Go to moorsandmasonry.org for Moors and Masonry Part 1, the Masonic Compass and Square, and the connection to timekeeping and measurement, Illuminati and illumination of the mind, how Venus and Moon rule, etymology vocabulary. Etymology vocabulary supplement you 1. Coming your way very, very soon. Moors and Masonry Part 2, the recovery of lost, the power of Moorish treaties and the recovery of lost Moorish sovereignty. I did give you a little tidbit, little taste of chapter 2. Once again, titled chapter 2 of Moors and Masonry Part 2 is titled the Intercatera Divina, Pope Alexander VI, Papal Decree of March 4th, 1493, disguised as Christopher Columbus, and this Christopher Columbus and Columbus discovering America. And this is the international law of colonialism. All right, so once again, this class will be uploaded either tonight or tomorrow on the Moroccan Post Media YouTube page. All the classes are on the Moroccan Post Media YouTube page. Shock, you want to make an announcement? I made an announcement about the class, your build you have on Tuesdays and Sundays. You want to give that a plug?
Yeah, thank you. We have a Sunday build that takes place on GoToMeeting, and that is at 4 o'clock every Sunday Eastern Standard Time. And we also have a Tuesday build. That's usually around 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, and it goes. All right, and it goes, at the very least 3 to 4 hours. And like this Tuesday, we went until 10, 11 o'clock, and we go as long as we want to go. So if you want to get on that build, you want to get on the email list, send an email to Shaka13, the number 13, el@gmail.com. That's Shaka, SH.
Put it in the chat, Shaka. Once you put it,
Okay.
type it in the chat.
Okay, I'll put it in the chat
Yeah,
right now.
type it in the chat. So we'll be on so that people can. And then I also want you to say it again, but type it in the chat and say it again for the recording. All right, so this has been a very good class.
I'm not as tired tonight, so I'll hang on after the class. So anybody that wants to hang tight and so I'll be waiting for this thing to get done so we can upload it tonight on the YouTube. So anybody want to hang tight after the recording, that's fine.
All right, we'll hang on.
All right.
So Shaka's typing it in the chat, and he'll say it again.
Give everyone time to write it down.
Yes. This has been a very good class, and we're gonna do a review. Next class, I think we should do a review. This was a lot of information, so I'm gonna structure a review. We'll get with Shem, we'll structure a review. This.
Okay.
Highlight certain points.
So,
maybe an hour review, and then questions. So we'll work something.
Also, for the counselor relation classes that we've been doing, we have to close that up as well before we move on to the next one. So I think we're also going to do what after that. What are we going to do with that? Are we going to do like a question?
We still got stuff for that, T. We got a lot more classes on that.
Okay, well, let's
remember
rock.
Remember we met 2 weeks, and we haven't covered.
Oh yeah, we do have.
Shem wanted to do this. Shem wanted to do this because he presented this yesterday.
Yeah.
That's why. But yeah, we haven't finished that up. We have.
Oh, cool. Let's go. Let's rock on then. Oh yeah. Well, we do have classes set for. Yeah, we do have classes set for.
We got to do writ of quo wanto. We got to do letter of rogatory, writ of quo wanto.
Oh yeah, that's right. Absolutely.
Got to do affidavit of complaint. We have to do so we have we got some time.
Cool beans.
We got stuff to do. It's already structured. Remember,
already laid out.
Structure.
Yeah. All right. So did you send that through? Right.
Okay, yeah.
All right, Shock, you want to give it again? Give it verbal.
Yeah.
Yes.
To get on the email list, you will get the links every week for the Sunday bills and the Tuesday bills. Send a correspondence to Shaka, the number 13, el@gmail.com. Shaka is SHAKA, the number 13, el@gmail.com. We go over a plethora of different things every week. Sometimes it's an open forum. We can discuss whatever. It's a weekly webinar.
Is that you in the background? What's that? Somebody close their mics. Close the. Is that you? Is that?
No, that's not.
There's a lot of noise in the back. Reach your mics, please, people.
Okay.
Right.
So it's a weekly webinar, and we go over whatever is necessary for us to get to the next level. That's what it's about. And it's about bringing like minds together and putting extra eyes and ears on what we're able to research, because what I see, you may not see, and what you see, I may not see. So I implore everybody to, to join us, because we need as many eyes and ears and opinions as we can get. We can never have too much. I appreciate the time.
Right. All right. So it's 10 after. So let's get it popping.
Yup. All right, once again, Moroccan Post Media YouTube page. Moroccan Post Media YouTube page for the recording of this class. Thank you again. We'll see you on November 23rd, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. Peace, everyone.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace out.
Peace.